Chapter 10-12. The Three Treasures Tool Nurturing Technique used a large number of nomological inscriptions. Now that he was refining the tool spirit carrier, he could spend some time learning about nomological inscriptions. The Valley of Beasts had produced many almighty figures, so there were naturally such inheritances. Wang Daoyuan flipped through the inheritance of nomological inscriptions and comprehended the nomological inscriptions according to the contents of the inheritance. Back then, perfected Lei Yen had said that there was a rumor in the ancient times that if one understood all four paths, they could see the great Tao. If he didn't understand all four paths, it would be a bit strenuous to learn these nomological inscriptions. Wang Daoyuan's alchemy, smithing, and talisman arrays had all reached the upper grade of the 5th level. He was also a cultivator with 5 spiritual roots and had grasped the laws of the 5 elements. The most commonly used nomological inscriptions were the laws of the 5 elements. With these foundations, it was very easy to grasp the basic nomological inscriptions. The last time he refined 5 tool spirit carriers, it only took half a year. This time, he only refined 1, but it took him an entire year. This year wasn't wasted. He had more or less comprehended all the nomological inscriptions in the Three Treasures Tool Nurturing Technique. After comprehending the commonly used nomological inscriptions, he could spend some time to modify the spiritual power conversion device of the flying ship. The structure of this thing was too complicated. The time spent refining a flying warship, from the core to the outer shell, couldn't even compare to a spiritual power conversion device. This thing needed spiritual power to carry the power of laws. Alchemy, smithing, and talisman array inscriptions couldn't have this function, so he could only use nomological inscriptions. When he had time in the future, he could fully comprehend all the inscriptions on the spiritual power conversion device and make some modifications. There were too many ways to modify this thing. After all the spiritual power needed by the flying warship had to go through this device. He could try to save spiritual power or increase the speed. After refining the tool spirit carrier, Wang Daoyuan left the refining room and went to the bedroom. Lord Shadow Master, the tool spirit carrier has been refined. Next, you have to use your essence, energy, and spirit to fill the carrier. After that, you have to fuse your understanding of the laws and the divine charm of the Scarlet One into it. When the carrier turns into a ball of energy, this energy will be the embryonic form of the tool spirit. Next, you have to absorb it into the Purple Mansion phenomenon and Dharma artifacts to nurture it. When it becomes a true tool spirit, that will depend on your ability. Zhou Wan took the artifact spirit carrier and began to inject energy into it. Wang Daoyuan was a little unhappy. I've been working hard for a year. Aren't there any rewards? Zhou Wan shot him a glance. Over the past year, I've been the one who's been helping you deal with the demon beast corpses and artifact forging materials, as well as the magical tools and medicinal pills you've bought. I don't even have time to cultivate, and you still have the nerve to ask me for a reward. Lord Shadow Master, you've worked hard. Do you want me to reward you? Just as he was about to make his move, someone knocked on the door. Scanning the area with his divine perception, he discovered that there were 6 people at the entrance. One of them was Li Chen. Although they had ruined his plans, he reluctantly let them off for the sake of the spirit stones. Arriving at the entrance, he cupped his hands towards Dao Yu and asked, "Brother Li, why are there so many Dao Yu here this time?" Li Chen didn't look around. Since I promised to introduce business to the Wu brothers, I naturally can't go back on my word. From the looks of it, he had something to say and was worried about leaking information. Wang Daoyuan immediately understood. Brother Li and Dao Yu, please come inside. The others had lower cultivations, early and mid-stage yuanying, so they naturally didn't dare to put on airs in front of Wang Daoyuan. One of them, a mid-stage yuanying cultivator with a long beard, cupped his hands and said, "Wu Daoyu is too polite. I heard that your wife is in the room. They're all injured, so let's not disturb them." Brother Li and I can go in together. The rest of you can wait at the door. The group of 6 was divided into 2 factions. Li Chen and the long-bearded cultivator were the leaders of the 2 factions. The remaining 4 were all early Yuanying cultivators. Judging from their positions, they should be subordinates of Li Chen and the long-bearded cultivator. Usually, Li Chen would come here alone to sell demon beasts and other materials, as well as to purchase magic tools and pills. But now, 6 of them had come, and 4 of them didn't want to come in. Logically speaking, these 4 didn't need to come at all. The 2 leaders could have just come. But they had come, and they were injured. Perhaps Li Chen and the long-bearded cultivator were worried that they would leak the information if he wasn't here. It seemed like they wanted to talk about something important. Wang Daoyuan nodded. No problem. Daoyu, please come with me. With that, he led the 2 to the east wing of the courtyard. The courtyard's formation was fully activated. Fellow Taoists, feel free to speak your mind. The 2 of them each took out a jade bottle. Li Chen smiled and said, "This is one of our gains from this trip. Wu brothers, please take a look." Wang Daoyuan took the 2 jade bottles and opened them to take a look. The 2 jade bottles were spatial magic tools. The contents were exactly the same, large amounts of seawater. However, the seawater was different. It contained dense spiritual power. Moreover, the spiritual power wasn't evenly distributed. Some of the seawater's spiritual power was extremely strong, reaching the peak of stage 5. Most of the seawater's spiritual power was around mid-stage stage 4. Most of the seawater nearby had spiritual power of this level. The seawater with 2 different types of spiritual power could coexist instead of fusing with each other. It was like pouring half a basin of hot water into half a basin of cold water. The result should be a basin of warm water. However, the situation in the 2 jade bottles was that the hot water had gathered into a few clumps, while the surrounding water was still cold. The 2 didn't fuse at all. Wang Daoyuan had never seen such a situation before. He hurriedly had his doppelganger flip through the Valley of Beasts' ancient records about water to find a similar situation. Seeing that he had noticed something strange, Li Chen continued, "Chen Yin, Daoyu, and I led 4 early-stage Yuanying cultivators into the sea to hunt for demonic beasts. We chased after a demonic beast and chased it into the depths of the sea. That demonic beast hid in a place with an undercurrent. The water in the undercurrent contains dense spiritual power. The demonic beast fled into the source of the undercurrent. We wanted to chase after it, but we discovered that there were several stage 5 demonic beasts inside, including 2 high-stage stage 5 demonic beasts. With the strength of the 6 of us, we weren't a match for those demonic beasts. We discovered that the spiritual power in the undercurrent was extremely dense and wouldn't dissipate. We felt that we could sell it for some spirit stones, so we brought some back. After we came ashore, we discovered that there was something strange about the seawater. There must be a reason for this abnormality. The undercurrent was so strange. There might be some treasure hidden in the source of the undercurrent. We wanted to find a few experts to explore the sea together. The only experts I know are the Wu brothers." Wang Daoyuan nodded. "A high-stage stage 5 demonic beast is nothing to me. I can kill it with a wave of my hand." After he finished speaking, he took out a clump of water with dense spiritual power and compressed it with his consciousness and spiritual power. Soon, the clump of water with dense spiritual power was divided into 2 parts. One part had thinner spiritual power, while the other had denser spiritual power. Wang Daoyuan took out the part with dense spiritual power and continued to compress it. The water was again divided into 2 parts with different spiritual power. The part with dense spiritual power had already reached the level of a stage 6 spirit spring. "This thing is really extraordinary. I can go down with you. There's no need to find other people. I can deal with a dozen stage 5 demonic beasts by myself. You go back and prepare. When you're ready, come find me and we'll go down together." Hearing this, Li Chen and Chen Yin were overjoyed. Chen Yin hurriedly said, "Thank you Wu Daoyu. The other brothers are injured and need to rest for a period of time. We'll set off in about a month. I plan to buy some magical tools and pills. When we go into the sea, we'll have a better chance." He reported some pills and magical tools. Wang Daoyuan had a lot of these in his hands, so he casually gave them to him. Then the two took the 4 people outside and left together. This business earned them a few thousand high-stage spirit stones. Returning to the main room, Zhou Wan asked, "What were you talking about that was so mysterious that you even opened the soundproof formation in the room?" Wang Daoyuan took out the ball of water and used his spiritual sense and spiritual power to compress it. The water was divided into 2 parts again. Zhou Wan was stunned. After thinking for a long time, she said, "This is spirit spring water derived from spirit water. After coming into contact with a large amount of ordinary water, it will not directly merge with it. Instead, it will absorb ordinary water and increase its own volume. When the spirit spring water is thin enough and loses its original characteristics, it will completely merge with ordinary water. Before merging, as long as you deliberately compress it, you can squeeze out ordinary water. Where did this seawater come from? If we follow it, we should be able to find the location of the spirit water." Wang Daoyuan was somewhat surprised. "You know this thing? Are you sure?" Zhou Wan had a face full of pride. "Of course. Although the Blood Shadow's martial arts and secret techniques are not strong, they are still in the field of intelligence. In terms of collecting strange stories, the 5 top forces of the past added together could not compare to the Blood Shadow. There are records of the Blood Shadow's records about the spirit water. In the past, one of the ancestors of the Blood Shadow explored the West Sea and encountered the spirit water. Unfortunately, he was obstructed by demonic beasts and could only give up after discovering the spirit water. Later on, the spirit qi in Beiyuan became weaker and weaker. Some of the spirit springs, rivers, lakes, and seas could no longer produce spirit water. At this time, Wang Daoyuan's clone had also flipped through the records about the spirit water. The spirit spring water derived from the spirit water did indeed have similar characteristics. Then it should be correct. The spirit spring water derived from the spirit water already has such dense spirit qi. The real spirit water should be of a higher grade. At the very least, it should be level 6 spirit water. With this thing, there will be an endless supply of level 6 spirit spring water. Even if it is not used to fight enemies, it is still very good to be used to assist cultivation or concoct pills. If placed in a secret realm, it can also be used to water spirit plants. So you are saying that you want to go into the sea again? Wang Daoyuan nodded. Such a good thing. If I don't give it a try, I will not be satisfied. Then I will go with you. The danger here is far less than the setting sun abyss. Even if we are attacked by level 6 demonic beasts, with your strength, you can protect me. I have no objections, but there may be level 6 demonic beasts lurking around the level 6 spirit water. Once we encounter one, I may not be able to protect you from the bottom of the sea. The space here is stable, and there are no spatial cracks for you to hide in. I have my own means of self-protection. Even if I encounter a level 6 demonic beast, I will not be easily taken down. It may be a bit strenuous to help you, but I will have no problem protecting myself. Don't worry. Wang Daoyuan did not refuse. Zhou Wan had brought a lot of good things. If they encountered any problems, they might be of great help. There were many wandering cultivators here, and there might be some hidden experts. If he let her continue to stay here, he would not be at ease. All right, I will take you with me. But you must follow me closely. If you encounter a demonic beast that is difficult to deal with, immediately enter my portable secret realm. Chapter 10:13. Xiaofan nodded. Don't worry, I know what to do. I won't cause you any trouble at a critical moment. Lord Shadow Lord, you've consumed a lot of your spirit vessel. Do you want me to help you recover your spirit power? Xiaofan nodded, and Wang Daoyuan immediately got to work. He had spent the past year comprehending law inscriptions, which had delayed his cultivation. He had to make the best use of his time. A month passed quickly, and Wang Daoyuan and Xiaofan were ready. Li Chen and Chen Yin brought 4 early-stage Yuanying cultivators to the courtyard. Wang Daoyuan and Xiaofan walked out and activated the formation. Brotherly, Chen Daoyu, let's go together. What do you think? Li Chen smiled. Sister-in-law is also a late-stage Yuanying cultivator. Even though she's a fire-type cultivator and isn't good at fighting in the sea, she's still stronger than us. With the help of 2 late-stage Yuanying cultivators, we'll have a better chance. Chen Yin also smiled apologetically at the side. Fellow Taoist Li is right. With the help of 2 experts, our chances of success will be greater. Let's not waste any time and go together. Wang Daoyuan couldn't wait any longer, so he didn't have any objections. Li Chen took out a high-grade 4th-grade flying boat and took everyone north. They flew a few thousand kilometers north of the Fire Lotus Island and turned west. They took a big detour and came to a place more than 10,000 kilometers south of the island. The flying boat stopped above a dark sea. Li Chen said, "There's a huge canyon at the bottom of this sea. The sea is very deep. Also, there are often undercurrents in the canyon. 5th-grade demon beasts are common, and 6th-grade demon beasts can be seen sometimes. Therefore, no one dares to hunt demon beasts here. We came here last time because we paid a great price to catch that demon beast. If it escaped, we would have lost everything." This was the place where he had entered the sea the last time. There's no reference at sea, and we don't have the confidence to directly find the undercurrent. We can only enter the sea from here and follow the marks left behind last time. Wang Daoyuan nodded. Let's go down here. Li Chen and Chen Yin led the way while the rest followed closely behind. After diving more than 50,000 feet into the sea, they arrived at a canyon. The canyon ran from east to west, and both sides were flat seabed. A huge rift had been forcefully created. After entering the canyon, the pressure suddenly increased, and it also became much darker. Fortunately, there were many glowing corals and aquatic plants here, so they could see things clearly. Li Chen and Chen Yin took the lead and swam eastward. In order to prevent the demonic beasts from launching a sneak attack, Wang Daoyuan had already activated the soul-chasing compass. There were many forks in this canyon. After swimming for more than 1,000 miles to the east, a small fork appeared in front of them. Li Chen swam over and groped among the rocks at the fork. It's this fork in the road. I found the mark left behind back then. Follow me. After saying that, he swam towards the fork. After a few more forks, Wang Daoyuan's divine sense had already detected that there was abundant spiritual qi and rapidly flowing seawater more than 10 miles away. Li Chen and Chen Yin also felt it. Li Chen even sent a voice transmission to Wang Daoyuan. The undercurrent is just ahead. As long as we go against the current, we can find the source of the undercurrent. There shouldn't be any danger here. The commotion last time wasn't small, but it didn't attract other demonic beasts. Before he finished speaking, Wang Daoyuan's soul-chasing compass found a blue light spot. This demonic beast should have discovered them and swam straight towards them from the east. You were lucky last time. This time, you won't be so lucky. There's a rank 5 demonic beast coming from the east. It's more than 200 miles away from here. Chen Yin and the others were a little surprised. After all, divine sense couldn't explore too far in the deep sea. They could only explore a distance of more than 20 miles. Wang Daoyuan's divine sense was stronger than theirs, but it was impossible for him to see more than 100 miles away. Although Chen Yin didn't dare to question it openly, he still said, "This place is in the bottom of the sea. It seriously affects divine sense exploration. It's unlikely that you can discover something more than 200 miles away, right?" On the contrary, Li Chen believed in Wang Daoyuan without a doubt. He immediately took out his magic tool and was ready to attack at any time. Wang Daoyuan didn't take it seriously. "Whether there are demonic beasts or not, we'll know in a while. Brother Li, don't worry. As long as you're prepared, this evil beast may not dare to come. A rank 5 demonic beast is worth at least 3,000 to 4,000 high-grade spirit stones. Pretend as if nothing happened and continue to swim forward." After more than 100 breaths, a strangely shaped snake swam over. This guy's head was like a cow's, but it had no horns. Its body was like a snake, covered in hard scales, and it had a 3-fingered claw. Upon seeing this thing, Chen Yin's expression changed. "This is a Kuei dragon, and it's a rank 5 high-grade one. We're in trouble." Hearing this, Li Chen and the others prepared to flee for their lives. Wang Daoyuan had never heard of this kind of demonic beast, but now wasn't the time to ask. A rank 5 high-grade demonic beast, even if it was a purebred primordial beast, was just a piece of cake. In order to minimize the commotion, Wang Daoyuan activated his divine ability domain. Then, 5 Kuei water divine thunders appeared out of thin air and attacked the Kuei dragon. In order to hide his strength, he didn't use the power of the soul formation stage. He had only deduced the Kuei water divine thunders to the rank 5 level. In addition to suppressing his power, the power he displayed was comparable to a peak Yuanian cultivator. This Kuei dragon was also quite extraordinary. A layer of water-type protective light barrier appeared on his body, and there were flashes of lightning within it. The 5 Kuei water divine thunders smashed onto the light barrier and were actually blocked. If it was an ordinary opponent, most of the power of the Kuei water divine thunders would have directly passed through the protective light barrier and smashed into him. But in front of this Kuei dragon, all of the power of the Kuei water divine thunders was blocked by the protective light barrier. Of course, the Kuei dragon didn't have it easy either. His protective light barrier became extremely dim, as if it would collapse at any time. Wang Daoyuan didn't bother to waste time. 30 Kuei water divine thunders appeared in an instant and smashed towards the Kuei dragon at the same time. This kind of method couldn't be blocked by opponents without a powerful divine ability. However, the Kuei dragon's method wasn't weak. A huge whirlpool of lightning appeared around him. The 30 Kuei water divine thunders hit it, but they couldn't break through the whirlpool. Moreover, the whirlpool was still expanding. Li Chen and the others turned pale with fright. They wanted to make a fortune, but they encountered such a strong enemy. Wang Daoyuan had an indifferent look. If he didn't want to expose his strength, no matter how powerful this whirlpool was, it would be a matter of a sword. He continuously condensed Kuei water divine thunders. Every 3 breaths, there would be 30 Kuei water divine thunders smashing into it. This Kuei dragon was really not ordinary. This whirlpool seemed to be able to transfer most of the power of the Kuei water divine thunders into the sea. The whirlpool itself didn't bear much power. The Kuei water divine thunders could only suppress the expansion of the whirlpool, but couldn't directly break it. No matter what method was used, it was impossible to not pay a price. The power transfer must be like this. If it kept on, the one who couldn't bear it would definitely be this Kuei dragon. After 30 breaths, Wang Daoyuan shot out more than 300 Kuei water divine thunders. The whirlpool finally couldn't hold on and collapsed. After the Kuei dragon blocked the last wave of Kuei water divine thunders with all his strength, he turned around and fled to the east. Before he could escape far, a few Kuei water divine thunders appeared in front of him. This Kuei dragon's spiritual power had basically been exhausted and had no ability to resist. In addition, these few Kuei water divine thunders appeared almost in front of his eyes. It was too late to dodge. Only a few muffled sounds were heard. The Kuei dragon lost his life. The power of the space domain lay in this. With the help of the domain spell, this spell could appear anywhere out of thin air. If one was not prepared, they could be killed at any time. Wang Daoyuan condensed a water dragon, rolled the Kuei dragon's body over, and put it into the space of the spiritual pearl. Zhou Wan had an indifferent look on her face. She was even in the mood to admire the coral on the side. Li Chen, Chen Yin and the others were shocked. A Kuei dragon died just like that. Wang Daoyuan asked, "This Kuei dragon is quite powerful. It seems to have two magical powers, thunder and water. What is its origin?" Chen Yin respectfully replied, "There is a legend in the Qixing Sea Shuxian community. In ancient times, this place was ruled by a strange beast called Kuei. This thing can control thunder and lightning, but it looks quite strange. Some look like cows, some look like dragons, and they only have one claw or hoof. Now, the legendary Kuei can no longer be seen, but they left behind a lot of bloodlines. The Kuei dragon is the descendant of Kuei and Jiao dragon, and has both magical powers. Until now, the Kuei dragon is still one of the overlords of the Sea of Seven Stars. It's just that there are few of them, and human cultivators rarely see them. But in terms of strength, they definitely don't lose to semi-divine beasts. Especially this thunder-controlling technique, its power in the sea is too great." Wang Daoyuan nodded. "Let's continue forward." Li Chen and the others instantly gained courage and rushed to lead the way. Soon, they arrived next to the undercurrent. The water in the undercurrent indeed contained extremely rich spiritual power, and it was incompatible with the surrounding seawater. Everyone followed the undercurrent upstream. The further upstream they went, the smaller the undercurrent became, and the more spiritual power it contained. This was also in line with the spiritual spring water's characteristics of absorbing ordinary water and diluting it. The spiritual spring water was much denser than ordinary water, and it wouldn't float up, only flowing at the bottom of the sea. They didn't encounter any other demonic beasts on the way, and soon they arrived at the foot of a tall sea mountain. The undercurrent flowed from a cave at the foot of the sea mountain. "Wu brothers, this cave leads to a basin, and there are many demonic beasts roaming above. If we want to go in, we can only go through this cave. But there are also many demonic beasts in the basin. Last time, we detected the aura of demonic beasts, so we didn't dare to go in." Wang Daoyuan and Zhou Wan walked in front and directly entered the cave. The cave was relatively spacious, only a few dozen kilometers long. Soon, everyone arrived at the basin. There was a basin several hundred kilometers in diameter, and it was surrounded by mountains. Many corals and spiritual plants grew in the basin, and they emitted a dim light, attracting many low-level demonic beasts. A large number of light spots appeared on Wang Daoyuan's soul-chasing compass. Most of the light spots were scarlet and orange, which meant they were first and second-rank demonic beasts. But there were also 3 cyan light spots, and they were quite bright. They should be relatively strong 5th-rank demonic beasts. The cave was located at the lowest point in the basin, so the spiritual spring water flowed out from there. Everyone tried their best to conceal their aura, and followed the undercurrent. Soon, they arrived at a rock wall, and the undercurrent flowed out from a crack in the wall. The real spiritual water should be inside. If they wanted to get it, it would take some effort. Just as Wang Daoyuan was about to make a move, a powerful pressure fell from above the basin. "Who are you to dare to kill my grandson? You don't put my Kuei dragon clan in your eyes." Chapter 10:14. The Kuei dragon was a lightning-type demon beast. Since the Kuei dragon had inherited the Kuei dragon's lightning-type divine ability, its roar also contained a soul-stirring power. The demon beasts in the basin began to flee in all directions. Li Chen and the others were also stunned. The soul-chasing compass in Wang Daoyuan's Sea of Consciousness still hadn't shown any blue light, which meant that the Kuei dragon was still 300 miles away. This beast is still a few hundred miles away from here. Do you want to run away or stay here and watch? Let me say this first, I'm not confident that I can protect you when I fight the rank 6 Kuei dragon. The others were still in a daze. They were a little surprised to hear Wang Daoyuan say this. Li Chen asked, Wu brothers, are you saying that you want to fight the Kuei dragon? I know you're strong, but that Kuei dragon is no ordinary demon beast. It has the bloodline of the Kuei dragon and the semi-divine flood dragon. Not only are the two bloodlines not in conflict, but they also complement each other. The Kuei dragon is much stronger than the semi-divine flood dragon. They had never seen the strength of a rank 6 demon beast. With their speed, there was no way they could escape from the rank 6 Kuei dragon. Wang Daoyuan was a little impatient. If you don't want to leave, then stay here and watch. I'm confident that I can protect myself and my Dao partner, but I'm not sure I can protect you. If you want to live or die, do as you please. Li Chen and the others didn't dare to dawdle. They all used their escape techniques and fled back the way they came. While speaking, he didn't stay idle. After saying this, he ignored them. He spread out his divine ability domain and soon discovered that there was an extremely strong fluctuation of spiritual power 400 miles to the east. The Kuei dragon was no fool. He immediately sensed that something was wrong as soon as he fell into the divine ability domain. He roared angrily, and a huge water ball wrapped in lightning flew towards the basin. The lightning traveled through the water, making rumbling sounds. Ever since he reached the soul formation stage, his divine ability domain had changed a lot. At this moment, he unleashed the power of his divine ability to the extreme. All the spiritual energy within 1,000 miles converged towards the east. Wang Daoyuan was in control of all the spiritual energy within the divine ability domain, including the spells cast by the enemy. At the same time, the water ball that Kuei dragon spat out was constantly drawing out spiritual energy. When Kuei dragon's spell was still dozens of miles away from Wang Daoyuan, its spiritual power was exhausted. Another roar came from afar, you killed my grandson? Which clan are you from? Why did you bully the weak and kill a descendant of my Kuei dragon clan? Wang Daoyuan did not reply. He only said to Zhou Wan, Lord Shadow Master, this old loach is not weak. If we fight later, I'm afraid I can't protect you. Hide in my mystic realm first. I've planted many precious spirit plants in there. Don't touch them. If you're bored, you can find some books to read and bully Yun Yi. After saying that, he put Zhou Wan into the space of the spiritual pearl. Now, he was the only one who needed to face the 6th rank Kuei dragon. He could fight without restraint. The Kuei Water Divine Thunder, Water Dragon Technique, and other techniques had only been deduced to the 5th rank. They were not powerful enough to deal with the 6th rank Kuei dragon. After reaching the soul formation stage, he had never fought with an opponent of the same level. This Kuei dragon was strong enough and this place was well hidden. It was a good opportunity to practice. He took out the Sword of Origin Restoration and waited for the Kuei dragon in the basin. After a dozen seconds, the Kuei dragon arrived at the small basin. This guy looked similar to the Kuei Jiao from before, except that he had an extra horn that wasn't too long on his head. Judging from the spiritual energy fluctuations, he should be about to reach the middle stage of the soul formation stage. Wang Daoyuan didn't hide his strength anymore. He exuded the aura of a soul formation stage cultivator. The Kuei dragon glanced at him and snorted. You're a human soul formation stage cultivator. You killed a direct descendant of the Kuei dragon clan in the sea. Are you looking down on the demon clan? The demon clan often harasses the islands where humans live. Are you looking down on the human race? Don't talk nonsense. I killed your grandson. I came to the sea to look for treasures, but he came to sneak up on me. If a nascent soul realm human cultivator were to launch a sneak attack on you, would you spare his life? I stayed here because I want to fight with you. Make your move. The Kuei dragon shouted angrily, arrogant. After saying that, a blue lightning bolt struck over. Lightning techniques couldn't be taken directly. Wang Daoyuan turned into a silver light and dodged the attack. He also slashed out a sword aura that went straight for the Kuei dragon's head. The Kuei Jiao's ability to control lightning was extremely strong. The lightning that he had shot out earlier turned around and blocked the sword light. Wang Daoyuan was only doing it casually. This sword aura only cut the lightning bolt and didn't hurt the Kuei dragon. The sword of essence restoring in his hand split into 10 sword shadows that circled around him. This Kuei dragon was not weak. He was very suitable for practice. After reaching the soul formation stage, he spent most of his energy on cultivating with Zhou Wan. He didn't have time to deduce many spells. Now that he was fighting a strong enemy, it was not suitable to use those spells that he wasn't very familiar with. Only the sword shadow divine light technique and the demon slaying sword could be used. A sword shadow flew out and pointed at the Kuei dragon's forehead. The Kuei dragon opened his mouth and spat out a thunderball. It blocked the sword shadow and the two were annihilated. Wang Daoyuan thought to himself, this guy is really not weak. My sword shadow has about 70% of the power of the sword of essence restoring. It was neutralized so easily. I have also fought with human cultivators. There are many sword cultivators among them. You should also be a sword cultivator. The power in your attack should be the sword intent of you humans. Your sword intent is very strange. Others only have one kind of sword intent, but you have many. This Kuei dragon was very knowledgeable. He recognized the difference in the sword of essence restoring. It doesn't matter what the sword intent is. What matters is that I can kill you. Kid, you are arrogant. I have lived for more than 10,000 years and have never seen a human cultivator who can kill me. I'll let you, little human kid, know the true power of our Kuei Jiao clan. After saying that, he raised his head and let out a dragon roar. A whirlpool appeared around his body. This method was similar to the Kuei dragon that he killed before, but it was much more powerful. Under the stirring of the whirlpool, the corals in the basin kept making kacha sounds. The broken corals were constantly being sucked into the whirlpool. Even the surrounding cliffs were constantly being sucked in. Wang Daoyuan was the least afraid of this kind of spell that borrowed external force and slowly accumulated power. He used the magical domain to absorb all the spiritual power in the nearby seawater. The spiritual power within 1,000 miles was under his control. If the Kuei dragon wanted to expand the whirlpool, he could only consume his own spiritual power. To control a large amount of seawater and exert an extremely strong power, no matter how much spiritual power he had, it would not be enough. He could only withdraw the whirlpool. The magical domain is indeed powerful. With just this method of controlling spiritual power, spells that rely on external spiritual power are useless in front of you. I can't believe that my Kuei dragon clan lost to a human in the aspect of controlling water. After saying that, his body expanded dozens of times, turning into a giant flood dragon that was thousands of feet long. The claws under his body were even more exaggerated. They were instantly enlarged 100 times. Lightning flashed in the dragon claws, condensing into a blue thunder bead. There were also streaks of lightning on the dragon body converging to the dragon claws, and the thunder bead continued to grow. Thunder attribute spells were not easy to deal with in the sea. Even if the frontal attack was avoided, the thunder attribute attack would spread in the surrounding seawater, and the residual power could hurt people. As long as one was hurt by the thunder attribute attack, paralysis was inevitable. At that time, the Kuei dragon's next move would be difficult to deal with. Wang Daoyuan did not intend to fight head-on and summoned the Xian cauldron. He asked, "Can you withstand this guy's attack?" "Master, don't worry. The Xian cauldron was once a 7th-level magic weapon. Below the Mahayana realm, it can't pose too much of a threat to me." Wang Daoyuan was relieved. It was said that the strength of the Kuei dragon was on 1 foot. As long as the Xian cauldron could withstand this attack, the Kuei dragon would be at his wit's end. To be safe, Wang Daoyuan was still using the power of the domain to constantly weaken the thunderball in the dragon claws. The Kuei dragon saw that the spiritual power in the thunderball was constantly draining, and did not dare to delay any longer. He threw out the thunderball that was more than 3 feet in diameter. The thunder suddenly lit up the entire basin, and the seawater around the thunderball was ignited by the huge energy contained in it. Seeing that Wang Daoyuan did not dodge at all, the Kuei dragon looked proud. But the next scene stunned him. He saw that the ancient cauldron released a suction force and directly swallowed the thunderball. Then there was a muffled sound from the cauldron, and the Kuei dragon could no longer sense the thunderball. This was his full-strength attack, and it was broken just like that. He did not dare to fight with Wang Daoyuan again. His body instantly shrank, turned into a blue light, and escaped hundreds of miles away. Wang Daoyuan did not panic. The laws that he had comprehended in the soul formation mental demon tribulation were not only the 5 elements laws. With a thought, the range of the divine power domain quickly shrank. After a few breaths, the Kuei dragon's head hit the edge of the divine power domain. His escape technique was already an arrow at the end of its flight under Wang Daoyuan's interference. This collision actually did not break out, but instead bounced back. The domain divine power combined with the spatial laws formed a space similar to a secret realm. The opponent in the domain was fighting against the power of the entire domain. Without overwhelming strength, there was no possibility of winning. It was just that this space was still very simple. Whether it was strength or function, it was far inferior to a real secret realm. But it was no problem to use it to bind the opponent. Spatial laws? Once you enter my domain, you will either defeat me or die here. The Kuei dragon's dragon claw under him grew bigger again and slapped toward the edge of the domain. Wang Daoyuan expanded the range of the domain again and moved the boundary dozens of miles away. The Kuei dragon's claw completely missed. 10 sword shadows attacked, but the Kuei dragon waved his dragon claw and shattered all the sword shadows. The Kuei dragon's strength was indeed beyond Wang Daoyuan's expectations. With the power of his thunderball, if not for the Xian cauldron, he would have to use the Yinglong demon slayer sword to take it head-on. Even if he could kill the Kuei dragon, he would have to pay a heavy price. Without the spatial laws, it would be difficult to keep him even if he defeated him. You have no hope of escaping. If you serve me as your master, I can let you live. Maybe I can even help you cultivate to the 7th level in the future. The Kuei dragon had the bloodline of an ancient beast and a divine beast, so it was natural for him to be arrogant. Bah, you human brat, are you worthy of my Kuei dragon clan submission? Since I can't beat you and can't escape, I will trade my life for yours. After that, the spiritual power in his body began to disappear. He wanted to gather all his spiritual power into the pseudo-dragon ball and then detonate it. This was the deep sea, and the destructive power of self-destruction was much stronger than on land. He could escape by hiding in the space of the spirit pearl, but the Kuei dragon's body and the pseudo-dragon ball would be destroyed. Chapter 10-15 The rank 6 Kuei dragon's bones and scales were excellent rank 6 refining materials. The scales could be used to refine defensive artifacts. The bones had many uses. Even a rib could be refined into a long sword. The horn and pseudo-dragon ball were even more valuable. They were rare treasures. Wang Daoyuan had very few rank 6 refining materials. He only had a piece of dazzling sun gold. Such a huge Kuei Jiao, it would be a waste to let it self-destruct. With a thought, the Xian cauldron immediately flew over and released a suppressive force to suppress the flow of spiritual power in the Kuei dragon's body. Although the Xian cauldron was powerful, it was only rank 6 mid-grade. The Kuei dragon's cultivation was at rank 6 low-grade, but he was already prepared to die. The Xian cauldron's own power was not enough to subdue him. To quickly finish off the Kuei dragon, he could only rely on Yinglong's demon-slaying sword. He summoned his 5 natal artifacts and fused them into Yinglong's demon-slaying sword. The 5 artifact spirits fused into Yinglong and fused into the sword. With the artifact spirits, there was no need for Yinglong's avatar to personally take action. The artifact spirits grew in Yinglong's avatar and could directly mobilize its power. After injecting a large amount of spiritual power, Yinglong's demon-slaying sword went straight for the Kuei dragon's head. Wang Daoyuan also controlled the seawater to make room for Yinglong's demon-slaying sword to prevent the seawater from consuming the spiritual power in the sword. If he had a deeper understanding of the spatial laws, he could make the sword jump through space. After flying out of his hand, he could directly appear on top of the Kuei dragon's head. At this time, the Kuei dragon's spiritual power had already gathered in the pseudo-dragon ball. With the suppression of the Xian cauldron above, it was very difficult to mobilize spiritual power to block this sword. However, all the spiritual power in his body was mobilized when he self-destructed. It was still very difficult for ordinary methods to break through his defense. Kuei dragon had no choice but to dodge the attack. He hoped that his scales were tough enough to withstand the fatal blow. Under Wang Daoyuan's control, Yinglong's demon's lair sword landed on Kuei dragon's neck. Unfortunately, this Kuei dragon's neck was not as hard as Wang Daoyuan's sword. A bright yellow light flashed by, and a huge head rolled down. Without the control of his head, the Kuei dragon lost control of his spiritual energy and could no longer self-destruct. Wang Daoyuan put Kuei dragon's body into the space of the spiritual pearl and handed it over to his doppelganger to deal with. At the same time, he also brought Zhou Wan out. As soon as Zhou Wan came out, she asked, "It took you so long to solve it. Are you hurt?" Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, "How long did it take?" "When I dealt with you, it was much more difficult." Zhou Wan pretended to hit him, but Wang Daoyuan hurriedly changed the topic. "If there's something, let's talk about it when we get back. Don't forget what we came here for. Now that there are no more monsters here, let's go over there and see what the spiritual water is." The two of them came to the rock wall where the spiritual water was seeping out. After the destruction of the battle, this place was already full of cracks. Wang Daoyuan's right hand turned into a dragon claw and hammered a few times on the rock wall. Large and small stones began to fall off. After half a cup of tea's time, a stone room about 6 meters in diameter appeared in front of them. On the ground of the stone room was a spring, which was still emitting special spiritual water. The spiritual water should be inside the spring. Wang Daoyuan used the water dragon technique, and a black dragon drilled into the spring. Soon, it flew out with a fist-sized ball of water in its mouth. This ball of water was constantly absorbing the surrounding spiritual energy and releasing extremely rich spiritual water. Wang Daoyuan drained the surrounding spiritual energy, and no more spiritual water gushed out from the ball of water. At this time, he could see the ball of water clearly. This thing was transparent, without a trace of impurity. It contained pure water spiritual energy, and should be a 6th-level low-grade spiritual water. As for the name of this spiritual water, Wang Daoyuan really didn't know. Shadow Lord, do you know the name of this spiritual water? Inject water spiritual energy into this spiritual water, and I'll see what's going on. Wang Daoyuan did as he was told, and a large amount of spiritual water gushed out from the ball of water. The more water spiritual energy was injected, the more spiritual water gushed out. Moreover, there seemed to be no upper limit to the amount of spiritual water gushing out. Wang Daoyuan was a little surprised. This spiritual water is not ordinary. Zhou Wan nodded. I checked some ancient books about spiritual water in your portable secret realm. The Valley of Beasts is worthy of being called a powerful force, and there are many records about all kinds of rare treasures. This spiritual water should be immeasurable true water, and only the sea can nurture such spiritual water. It is an extremely pure spiritual water, and doesn't have any special functions. The only extraordinary thing is the amount of water. As long as there is enough water spiritual energy, immeasurable true water can condense an unlimited amount of spiritual water. This spiritual water is extremely pure, and has a certain purifying effect on polluted air. When refining pills, this spiritual water can be used to extract the essence of spiritual herbs, and it can reduce the residue of pill toxins. Wang Daoyuan nodded. This function is not bad, at least it has some help for refining pills. Then he put the ball of water into the space of the spiritual pearl, and placed it on the north shore of the small lake, which was also the northernmost part of the spiritual pearl. Ever since he gathered the 5 elements spiritual fire, 5 spiritual veins were born in the spiritual pearl. Among them, a water spiritual vein was born where the Gui water hell flame was. With the passage of time, a spiritual spring appeared in the northernmost part of the water spiritual vein. This spring was also affected by the Gui water hell flame, and it contained an extremely rich yin qi. Similar to the birthplace of the Gui water hell flame, the Gui water hell spring, Wang Daoyuan had always called this spiritual spring the Gui water hell spring. As the 5 spiritual veins gradually grew, the amount of water in the Gui water hell spring also became larger and larger. Wang Daoyuan dug many small ditches north of the spiritual spring. Near the ditches, he planted 7-leaf ghost face flower, yellow spring willow, and other spiritual plants that liked yin qi. The spring water still couldn't be used up, so Wang Daoyuan dug a large pond at the northernmost part of the spiritual pearl to store the spring water. This large pond was also planted with black jade lotus and other spiritual plants that liked yin qi. Yun Yi and Wang Minglong also liked to cultivate in this large pond. As the amount of water increased, the pond became larger and larger. Now the pond had become a small lake that covered an area of nearly 100 acres. Wang Daoyuan named it North Underworld Lake. The level of spiritual power in the lake was not low. The Gui water hell spring had now reached the 6th rank. As the spiritual power in the spring water gradually dissipated, it could still maintain the level of the 5th rank. The immeasurable true water could absorb enough spiritual power in the lake to produce more spiritual spring water. This time we have a lot of harvest. The immeasurable true water and the corpse of the 6th rank Kuei dragon. It shouldn't be a problem to exchange for an island with a radius of 1,000 miles. Staying at the bottom of the sea is not a solution. Let's go back first. Zhou Wan nodded, and the two swam towards the surface. The battle between the 6th rank monster and the spirit-severing cultivator had scared the other monsters away. None of them dared to block the way. After coming to the surface of the sea, they took the flying boat to the Fire Lotus Island. This place was less than 20,000 miles away from the Fire Lotus Island. Even if they didn't know the way, they could clearly see the huge Fire Lotus Island from the sky. Not long after returning to his small courtyard, Li Chen came to visit. Wang Daoyuan welcomed him into the courtyard and activated the formation in the courtyard. Li Chen hurriedly asked, "Wu brothers, how did you escape? The Kuei dragon clan is much stronger than the flood dragons of the same rank. Even a spirit-severing cultivator would have a hard time defeating them. How did you escape unscathed? Wang Daoyuan pretended to be still in a state of shock. This Kuei Jiao is indeed extraordinary. I tried my best but was only able to block a few of his spells. If the battle had continued, I'm afraid I wouldn't have been able to survive. Fortunately, during these years of traveling outside, he had obtained some small gadgets. This time, I used 2 10,000-mile instant talismans to escape with my Dao partner. Li Chen was shocked. 10,000-mile instant talisman? Is that the kind of escape talisman that only spirit-severing cultivators can refine? Legend has it that it can use the law of space to escape thousands of miles in an instant. Unless the opponent has mastered the law of space, no one below the Mahayana stage can stop it. This thing only exists in legends. Even the Seven Stars Alliance and the Blood Shark don't have it. Where did you get it? After asking this, he hurriedly smiled and said, "Oh brothers, I'm really sorry. I was so shocked that I lost my composure. I shouldn't have pried into your privacy." Wang Daoyuan waved his hand. It's actually not that big of a deal. When I was traveling in the southern part of the Myriad Demon Islands, I came across an ancient cultivator's cave abode. Unfortunately, many of the treasures left behind by that senior can no longer be used. Only the 2 10,000-mile instant talismans are still in good condition. If it weren't for these treasures, I wouldn't have dared to try. Unfortunately, I underestimated the Kuei dragon's strength and wasted these treasures. Li Chen also sighed. It is indeed a pity, but it's fine as long as he's alive. Wu brothers are proficient in pill refinement and tool refinement, so he earns spirit stones much faster than us. He's also very talented and has a bright future ahead of him. It won't be a problem for him to break through to the deity transformation stage in the future. Losing 2 10,000-mile instant talismans isn't that big of a deal. You and your wife were dragged into this mess by us. In the end, you didn't gain anything and even lost 2 10,000-mile instant talismans. I really feel bad about it. Brotherly, you're too polite. It's not like I didn't gain anything. Didn't I kill a 5th-grade high-grade Kuei dragon before? Even if I can't completely make up for my losses, I didn't make this trip in vain. Since you're both safe and sound, I won't disturb you any further. Goodbye. Wang Daoyuan sent him to the door. After returning to the courtyard, Zhou Wan asked, "What's up with that portable secret realm of yours? Why do I feel like there's something wrong with the flow of time?" Wang Daoyuan didn't plan on hiding it from her. The flow of time in this secret realm is more than 100 times that of the outside world. Of course you'd feel that something is wrong. This time, Zhou Wan was stunned. There's such a powerful secret realm in this world? No wonder you seem to have endless resources. With this secret realm, the value of planting high-grade spiritual plants is really too great. The nascent soul fruit takes 5,000 years to ripen. With this space, you can harvest a batch in less than 50 years. Even if it's a 10,000-year-old spiritual plant, you can cultivate it in less than 100 years. Using his hand to lift Zhou Wan's chin, he said, "Of course. Now you know how powerful your husband is, right? Follow me and I'll make sure you eat and drink well." Zhou Wan grabbed his hand and twisted it. Unfortunately, it didn't budge. "You didn't tell me you had such a good thing. If I'd known, I would have cultivated in the secret realm. If you put me inside, it would have been faster to cultivate the embryonic form of the tool spirit." Wang Daoyuan didn't refuse and put her into the space of the spirit pearl. From the space of the spirit pearl, he took out 2 demonic cultivator clones to stand guard outside. His own primordial spirit also entered the space of the spirit pearl. After fighting with the Kuei dragon, he discovered that he still had a lot of shortcomings. He also needed to find time to deduce a few spells, so that the next time he met a strong enemy, his methods would be too simple. As soon as he entered the space of the Spirit Pearl, he discovered that something was wrong. A large amount of yin qi rose from the north of the Xianming Lake. His primordial spirit flew over to investigate and found that the lake water in the north was extremely pure, without a trace of yin qi. Chapter 10:16. Beneath this pure lake was the location of the immeasurable primordial water. The spiritual spring water produced by the immeasurable true water was relatively pure, and would not directly mix with ordinary water, so it was normal for a portion of pure lake water to appear. However, it was inexcusable that the yin qi in the vicinity of this pure lake was so dense. After all, this was the northernmost end of the North Underworld Lake, the furthest from the Gui water nether spring. His divine sense entered the lake and carefully examined the changes in the lake water. After the spiritual spring water produced by the immeasurable true water came into contact with the lake water, it absorbed the surrounding lake water. However, the spirit spring water only absorbed pure water and water spiritual energy from the lake, and the yin qi was separated. A small portion of the yin qi fused into the surrounding lake water, but most of it dissipated into the air. The space occupied by the pure lake water was still expanding, with the intention of swallowing up the entire dark North Lake. Previously, in order to prevent the immeasurable primordial water from producing too much water and drowning the entire space within the spiritual pearl, he did not place it on the water spiritual vein. Currently, the immeasurable true aquatic spiritual spring water relied on the water spiritual energy within the lake. After all, the water spiritual energy was limited, and the raw materials were limited, so the things produced were naturally limited. Previously, the lake water was filled with yin qi. Ordinary spirit plants and spirit beasts couldn't withstand it. This part of the dark North Lake was relatively pure and could be used for fish farming and irrigation. Zhou Wan was meditating in the thatched hut. When she saw Wang Daoyuan's primordial spirit enter, she flew over and grabbed it. I heard that primordial spirits look very similar to cultivators when they were young. I didn't expect you to look so disgusting. You were quite fun when you were young. What do you mean by humans and dogs are detestable? Back then, I was also a famous young talent in Qingli County. Ever since I reached Foundation Establishment, the people who came to propose marriage almost blocked Qingli River. Zhou Wan pointed at the spiritual fire of life. That peach tree is quite extraordinary. It can even provide spiritual energy for the spiritual fire of life. What's so special about it? That's the Mystic Sky Emerald Spirit Peach. It's a spirit tree that Supremacy Green would found in the Azure Dragon ruins. Flowers would only bloom at the 5th stage and bear fruit at the 6th stage. No matter how badly injured a cultivator below the Mahayana stage was, as long as they were still breathing, they would recover after eating the profound Sky Jade Spirit Peach. I've just broken through to the divine transformation realm and this peach tree has just reached the 6th level. The 7 peach blossoms haven't even withered yet. If he wanted to eat this peach, he would have to wait a long time. The life spirit flame should also be recorded in the Blood Shadow ancient records. When I found this profound Sky Jade Spirit Peach, it was in a state of near death, but it gave birth to a spirit flame. I say, Lord Shadow Master, can you put me down? I'm the primordial spirit of a divine transformation cultivator, it doesn't look good if you carry me around. I just find it fun to see you like this. Ming Ren looked similar to me when he was young. Why don't we have another child? Screw you, I'm going to continue nurturing the artifact spirit. Wang Daoyuan took a good stroll in the space of the spirit pearl, looking at the spirit plants in the space of the spirit pearl. The spirit beasts that had been raised in the space of the spiritual pearl, such as the fierce blood pig, had been transferred to the Qiankuan gourd. A rank 3 spatial artifact was not a problem for him to rear rank 2 spirit beasts. When he went through the divine tribulation and absorbed the gifts from heaven and earth, he couldn't absorb all of them himself. Most of them were sent to the space in the spiritual pearl. Among the 5 spiritual fires, apart from the life spiritual fire that had broken through to rank 6, the other 4 spiritual fires had also reached the peak of rank 5 and showed signs of breaking through. Yun-Yi, the fat cat, had also gained a lot of benefits. She was now sleeping under a yellow spring willow next to the Gue water nether spring. It seemed that it wouldn't take long for her to break through. The space of the spiritual pearl had also expanded a lot. It was now more than 400 acres. All kinds of spirit plants had also improved. The mysterious sky green spirit peach and blood fire hibiscus had broken through to rank 6. The yellow spring willow stump that was dug out from the yellow spring secret realm had broken through to rank 6 earlier than the mysterious sky green spirit peach. The hidden cloud tea had been upgraded to rank 5 upper grade. The 7-leaf ghost face flower and the jade needle white jade pine had also reached rank 5 middle grade. The gourd vine that had borne the rank 4 lower grade wood gourd had also broken through to rank 4 middle grade. After thousands of years in the space, there was hope that it could bear the rank 4 upper grade wood gourd. By then, it could be refined into a rank 5 lower grade spatial artifact. The rank 5 lower grade wood chinkuan gourd could be used to grow rank 4 spirit plants. It could also make a lot of space for the spiritual pearl space. What made Wang Daoyuan most happy was that the willow branch that he broke off from the hollow willow tree in the Green Willow province before leaving Beiyuan Xiuxian for the first time had also changed. This willow branch had broken through to rank 2 lower grade with the help of the gift of heaven and earth. It had also grown to the thickness of an adult's wrist. This hollow willow was worthy of being a spirit plant that could compare to the divine wood. Its growth speed was really slow. There were also many other spirit plants that were already close to breaking through. In the southern part of the spiritual pearl space, in the lava lake near the scarlet sun true fire, the fire spirit was working hard to cultivate. This guy had a completely different personality from Yun-Yi. If Yun-Yi didn't force him, he wouldn't cultivate at all. The fire spirit didn't let him do anything else, so he kept cultivating. Wang Daoyuan also couldn't be bothered with him. The dragon-locking vine that he had obtained in the Sunset Abyss secret realm was also planted nearby. When he had just transplanted it, it was only rank 3 upper grade. Now, it had already reached rank 4 lower grade. There were no monsters nearby for them to suck blood, so their growth speed wasn't fast. After patrolling around the spiritual pearl space, Wang Daoyuan's primordial spirit found an open space and began to deduce the Gue water divine thunder. In addition to the sword cultivation spell, he still needed a powerful rank 6 spell to hold up his facade. Now that Yuanying had turned into a primordial spirit and left his body, although he couldn't increase his cultivation, he could recover his spirit power. Staying in the spiritual pearl space for a long time also wouldn't be in danger of exhausting his spirit power. After staying in the space for more than 8 years, he had successfully deduced the Gue water divine thunder, the water dragon technique, and the Tiangang sword formation to rank 6. Only less than a month had passed in the outside world. For cultivators, this amount of time was nothing. During this time, Zhouwan's weapon spirit carrier had also finished nurturing, and the essence of the leaf fire had completely disappeared. The energy in it had already turned into the prototype of a weapon spirit and was absorbed by Zhouwan into the vision between Yuanying's eyebrows. At this moment, the doppelganger outside the spiritual pearl's space heard someone knocking on the door. "Shadow Master, there's someone outside the courtyard. Let's go out." Zhouwan nodded. After staying in this secret realm for so many years, it's time to go out and exercise. Wang Daoyuan brought Zhouwan out of the spiritual pearl space, and his primordial spirit returned to his body. He put away the 2 doppelganger guarding the door, stretched his body, and opened the courtyard door. He saw a stranger standing outside the courtyard door. This person's cultivation was at the late stage of Yuanying. He looked like a middle-aged man dressed in a white robe. Wang Daoyuan cupped his hands and said, "Daoyu, are you here to sell materials for refining weapons and elixirs, or to buy elixirs and magic weapons?" The middle-aged man shook his head. "Neither. I want to discuss something important with Daoyu." Wang Daoyuan led him into the courtyard. After activating the array, he asked, "What does Daoyu want to talk about?" The middle-aged cultivator smiled and said, "I am Li Tonghai, an elder of the Zhenhai sect. I heard that Daoyu encountered the Kuei dragon in the deep sea and escaped unscathed. I want to invite Wu Daoyu to join the Zhenhai sect." Wang Daoyuan chuckled. "I'm living a carefree life here. Why would I want to join the Zhenhai sect? Although the Zhenhai sect is not as powerful as those semi-god realm cultivators, we are still quite powerful in the Demon's Islands. If Wu Daoyu and his wife join us, their status will be no lower than that of our sect master. Also, the Zhenhai sect used to be a branch of the Imperial Regency. We have collected many kinds of inheritances. Wu Daoyu was an itinerant cultivator, so he must be lacking in inheritances. If you can join the Zhenhai sect, you can choose any of the inheritances in the sect. Thank you for your kindness, Li Daoyu. However, I don't want to join any sect. Please find someone else." Li Tonghai put on a pitiful look. "It's not that I want to pester you. It's just that the Zhenhai sect is having a hard time. It's hard for ordinary people to survive on the Demon's Islands. Even low-level cultivators can't adapt. Therefore, there are very few righteous cultivators. Now, the two tigers in the Sea of Seven Stars are fighting. They don't have time to care about the Demon's Islands. In recent years, there are fewer and fewer righteous cultivators on the Demon's Islands. Now, there are only two sects, the Zhenhai sect and the Golden Sand sect. If we can't get more people to join us, I'm afraid there will be no more righteous cultivators on the Demon's Islands." He was trying to win him over with righteousness. Wang Daoyuan wouldn't fall for it. As a fellow righteous cultivator, I can't stand by and do nothing when the Zhenhai sect is in trouble. In the future, if the Zhenhai sect wants to buy magic weapons and pills, I'll give them a 20% discount. As for joining the Zhenhai sect, my wife and I are used to living a carefree life. We're not interested. In a few years, we'll go to the Sunset Abyss to find spiritual items to help us break through to the soul formation realm. I don't want to be tied down by worldly affairs. Please don't blame me, Daoyu." Li Tonghai saw that he couldn't persuade him, so he didn't waste his breath. "Since Wu Daoyu doesn't want to join us, the Zhenhai sect won't force you. If Daoyu changes your mind in the future, the Zhenhai sect welcomes Daoyu to join us at any time. I still have other things to do, so I'll take my leave." With that, he left the small courtyard. Zhou Wan asked, "I remember that you have a grudge against the Zhenhai sect. Those guys aren't going to teach you a lesson, are they? I joined the Golden Sand sect under the name of Wu Chuan and forced 2 Yuanying elders of the Zhenhai sect to death. But there are many people with the same name in the world. They won't cause me trouble just because they have the same name. Besides, I killed the Kuei dragon only a month ago. Even if Li Chen and the others didn't keep their mouths shut, the Zhenhai sect wouldn't have been able to find out the truth in such a short time. The Zhenhai sect is a subordinate force of the Blood Shark. They should know that Wu Chuan is Zhou Ming. If they were really suspicious of my identity, they wouldn't have just sent Li Tonghai. I don't think this Li Tonghai is targeting me specifically. He's trying to recruit people here. The two powers in the Sea of Seven Stars are fighting, and many rogue cultivators have fled to the Demon Islands. This is the best time for the Zhenhai sect to recruit people and strengthen themselves. This Li Tonghai might have coincidentally heard about how I escaped from the hands of a rank 6 Kuei Jiao, so he decided to pay me a visit. Then what should we do? Should we leave Fire Lotus Island and prevent the Blood Shark from sending experts to cause trouble? There's no rush. Let's continue to buy all kinds of materials. Back then, I killed the peak Yuanying Master Huang when I was a peak Yuanying cultivator. Now, I'm only a peak Yuanying cultivator. How many people will the Blood Shark send to deal with me? The war between the Blood Shark and the Seven Stars Alliance is still raging. They can't send a large number of experts to cause trouble for me. Even if they confirm my identity, they won't make a big fuss. Since Li Chen and the others didn't keep their mouths shut, the matter of the 10,000-mile flash talisman should have spread. In the next few days, there will be a lot of people coming to buy the 10,000-mile flash talisman, and business will be a lot better. It's better to make some money before we leave. Chapter 10:17. Wang Daoyuan had deduced a few spells to level 6 in the space of the spiritual pearl. However, it was not suitable to practice on the Fire Lotus Island. There would be more and more cultivators coming to buy the 10,000-mile instant talisman. It was not suitable for him to cultivate with Zhou Wan anymore. It was better to take the time to improve his alchemy, artifact, and talisman array skills. Wang Daoyuan also had the refining method for the 10,000-mile instant talisman. However, the requirements for the materials were extremely high. The raw material of the talisman paper had to be the fur of a level 6 demonic beast, and the talisman ink had to be the blood essence of the same level 6 demonic beast. In other words, to refine the 10,000-mile instant talisman, he had to kill a level 6 demonic beast. At the Soul Formation realm, there were many life-saving methods. If the difference in cultivation was not big, it was not difficult to defeat the opponent, but it was very difficult to kill the opponent. This 10,000-mile instant talisman could be said to be the best treasure for escaping below the Mahayana realm. Even if he was besieged by many soul formation cultivators, he had a great chance of escaping. Mahayana realm cultivators could tear space. In front of them, the 10,000-mile instant talisman was like child's play. However, in the Sea of Seven Stars, where there were no Mahayana realm cultivators, it could be said to be a true divine artifact. If he wanted to refine a level 6 talisman, the materials were very difficult. Artifact talismans were much better. Although it took a bit of effort, they could be used repeatedly and save a lot of materials. However, before refining, he had to learn how to refine a level 6 magic artifact. The level 6 materials were still not enough. The brilliant sun gold and the Kuei dragon's corpse could not be moved easily. The blood fire hibiscus and the yellow spring willow had just broken through to level 6. The trunk had become a level 6 material, but the branches were not. He could not cut down the entire tree just to practice. It was better to refine a level 5 high-grade magic artifact first. It would not be too late to make a move when he was more confident. He prepared to refine a level 5 high-grade pill furnace and began to forge the embryo. The embryo of such a large magic artifact was not easy to refine. It took him a whole month to forge it into shape. He could not inscribe the pattern yet. He had to first nurture the embryo and increase its potential. Wang Daoyuan placed the embryonic form of the alchemy furnace into the Xian cauldron. It was time to receive the cultivators who came to do business. 2 days ago, some cultivators came to visit, but Zhou Wan rejected them all on the grounds that Wang Daoyuan was busy refining tools. If they didn't open their doors for business, these guys might play dirty. Wang Daoyuan opened the door to the courtyard. There was a sign hanging in front of the door that said, "Refining in progress, please do not disturb." He took off the sign and turned off the defensive formation of the courtyard. In less than 5 minutes, a late Yuanying cultivator arrived. This person was not young. Although he looked like a middle-aged man, the decaying aura on his body could not be concealed. Wang Daoyuan welcomed him into the courtyard and activated the soundproof formation. He asked, "Daoyu, what business do you have with my humble abode?" The middle-aged cultivator cupped his hands. "Wu Daoyu, I am Lin Xiao, an elder of the Imperial Regency. I am in charge of the Imperial Regency's business in the myriad demon islands. Dao Yu also knows about the Imperial Regency's battle with the Seven Stars Alliance. Now is the time to recruit people. I heard that Dao Yu managed to escape unscathed from the level 6 Kuei dragon a few days ago. I want to recruit Dao Yu. As long as Dao Yu is willing, you can immediately become an elder of the Imperial Regency. The inheritance level of my Imperial Regency is second to none in the Sea of Seven Stars. As long as Wu Dao Yu is willing to join my Imperial Regency, you can choose any of the inheritances in the sect. If you can make contributions to the sect, you might be able to obtain a spiritual item that can assist you in breaking through to the soul formation stage. These big factions were all the same. They were very good at making empty promises. They said that he could choose any of the inheritances in the sect, but to put it bluntly, it was just the inheritances on the surface. The true core inheritances were in the hands of the sect master and the grand elders. If they did not give it to him, he could not snatch it from them. As for the spiritual item that could assist him in breaking through to the soul formation stage, he might not even have a chance. Besides, do you think I'm still lacking something? In terms of inheritances, the 5 top factions in Beiyuan Xiaofan, plus the Blood Shadow Empire and the Zhou Empire, were all stronger than the Sea of Seven Stars. If he could really gather all the inheritances of the Shunlian school, he might be able to compete with the Valley of Beasts. However, the core inheritances of the Shunlian school were in the Ziwei Hall. They did not obtain much at all. Wang Daoyuan did not want to risk his life with the blood shark right now, so he still had to maintain the etiquette on the surface. My husband and I are used to traveling around and do not like to be controlled. As for inheritances and the like, we have obtained some over the years. Although they are not very advanced, they are enough. As for the spiritual items that can assist in breaking through to the soul formation stage, they are extremely rare in any faction. I am an outsider, so I do not expect these. At most, I will go to the Sunset Abyss. With my ability, it will not be a problem for me to find the spiritual items. Lin Xiao sighed. Dao Yu is a genius, but he is unwilling to join the Imperial Regency. This is also the Imperial Regency's misfortune. I heard that when Dao Yu escaped from the Kuei dragon, he used the talisman of 10,000 miles in a flash. The Imperial Regency is very interested in this item. Is Dao Yu willing to part with it? The Imperial Regency is willing to buy it at a high price. I may have to disappoint Dao Yu. I found an ancient cultivator's cave in the southern part of the Demon Islands. However, it has been a long time, and most of the treasures in the cave have been destroyed. The 2 talismans of 10,000 miles in a flash were kept because they were well kept. Even in the legendary ancient times, this kind of thing was not something to be trifled with. How could an ancient rogue cultivator have so many of them? The only 2 talismans have been used. Even if Dao Yu offers a sky-high price, there is nothing I can do. Wu Dao Yu is too serious. This item is rare. It is normal that Dao Yu does not have it. The Imperial Regency will naturally not force you. However, there is one more thing I need to ask. Now that the Imperial Regency is at war with the Seven Stars Alliance, we are lacking in all kinds of resources. Dao Yu is proficient in alchemy and artifact forging. How is his level? Hearing this, the Imperial Regency did not have enough pills and artifacts. Thinking about it, when 2 major factions were at war, Golden Core cultivators could only be considered as cannon fodder. The pills and artifacts needed were at least of the 4th rank. However, the refinement of 4th rank pills and artifacts required a large amount of time. It was difficult to refine them in large quantities in a short period of time. The Imperial Regency, which was the current blood shark, was far inferior to the Seven Stars Alliance in terms of resources and strength. Now that more than 20 years had passed, their resources were probably a little tight. I am not talented, but my alchemy and artifact forging skills are both at the upper 5th rank. Lin Zhao's eyes lit up. The Imperial Regency would like to ask Dao Yu to help with alchemy and artifact forging. What do you think of Dao Yu? With the Imperial Regency providing the materials for artifact forging, he did not need to work hard to find them. Helping the Imperial Regency forge artifacts was also a good choice. I am in this business. Naturally, there is no problem. However, how do you calculate the price? We will provide 2 sets of materials. Dao Yu will give me 1 artifact and 10% of the artifact's market price as a reward. As for the pills, 3 sets of herbs, 10 pills, and 10% of the market price as a reward. As for the artifacts and pills that are not agreed upon, we will buy them at market price. Wang Daoyuan nodded. This is a very fair price. No problem. Lin Xiao took out 2 cosmos rings. The requirements and materials are inside. I will come back to collect them in a year. Dao Yu, what do you think? Wang Daoyuan took the cosmos rings. One of the cosmos rings contained refining materials and a jade slip. The other cosmos ring contained spiritual herbs and a jade slip. He took out the jade slip and checked it. The requirements were simple. 3 5th grade superior grade longswords and 29 resurrection elixirs. Obviously, this was a test of his ability. It's a small matter. Half a year will do. Lin Zhao's eyes lit up. It took at least a year to nurture a 5th rank artifact. The same was true for the 9 resurrection pills. However, there were some special secret techniques to nurture artifacts and pills that could shorten the nurturing time. Time was also a cost. If he could shorten the nurturing time, he would also reduce the cost. Since Dao Yu is so confident, I will visit again in half a year. After Lin Xiao left, a few more cultivators came to ask about the 10,000-mile instant talisman. They were all dismissed by Wang Daoyuan with the same excuse. The couple were both late-stage Yuanying cultivators. Wang Daoyuan could easily kill a 5th rank upper Kuei dragon and escape from a 6th rank Kuei dragon. Ordinary cultivators could only look up to him and would not dare to fight him head-on. The artifacts and pills that needed to be refined were very simple. Wang Daoyuan still had many 9 resurrection pills. He could not use them all, so there was no need to refine more. He could personally refine high-grade tier 5 magic artifacts, and it could also improve his own refining skills. This upper 5th rank longsword was called the Ink Dragon Water-Splitting Sword. It was a relatively ordinary longsword with some water-repelling abilities. When using the Ink Dragon Water-Splitting Sword to cast water-type spells, its power would be increased. He gave 6 sets of materials and only needed to refine 3 Ink Dragon Water-Splitting Swords. The main material was a water-type material called the Ink Dragon Crystal. There were also a few non-elemental metal materials as supplementary materials. Longswords without many special abilities were the easiest to refine. In just half a month, he had finished refining the 3 artifacts. Now, all that was left was to nurture them. He put the 3 artifacts into the Xian cauldron and stored them in the spirit pearl. Wang Daoyuan also took out the cauldron embryo that he had previously refined and started to inscribe the inscriptions. The cauldron was round and had 3 legs and 2 handles. It even had a lid and carvings of the 5 elements divine beast. The refining method was found in the Valley of Beasts. It was called the 5 Elements Furnace. It had the 5 elements spirit power and could fully utilize the power of the 5 elements spirit fire. It was very suitable for Wang Daoyuan. It took him more than 3 months to complete the refining of the 5 elements furnace. He also threw it into the Xian cauldron to nurture it. The interior of the Xian cauldron was quite spacious anyway. As long as there was enough spirit power, nurturing dozens of artifacts at the same time was not a problem. In the following time, Wang Daoyuan did not refine any new artifacts. Instead, he summarized his experience and comprehended some methods of refining 6th-rank artifacts. Half a year passed quickly, and Lin Xiao came to visit again. Wang Daoyuan took out 3 ink dragon water-splitting swords and 29 death soul return pills. Lin Daoyu, these are the ink dragon water-splitting swords and the 9 death soul return pills. Let me say this first, I refined these 9 death soul return pills before. I still have many of these pills that are commonly seen in Yuanian cultivators. There is no need to refine them. Lin Xiao took the swords and pills and carefully examined them for a long time. I am not talented, but I have some experience in refining artifacts and pills. Fellow Daoist Wu's methods are far beyond my reach. It's just that the refining methods of these artifacts and pills are brilliant and strange. I can't tell which sect they belong to. Lin Daoyu, you must be joking. I was born as a loose cultivator. My artifact and pill refining methods are still rooted in the things of loose cultivators. When I was traveling, I also obtained some incomplete inheritances. There were even some inheritances of fiendish cultivators. I comprehended and integrated them myself to reach my current level. How can I be qualified to be called a sect? Chapter 10:18. In the beginning, Wang Daoyuan had self-taught himself and received some guidance from perfected Lei Yan. Later, he became perfected Lei Yan's disciple and learned most of the treasure cauldron lineage's refining techniques. He also received the refining legacies of Shunlian School and the Valley of Beasts, and Xian Xian's guidance. Although he didn't fully comprehend everything, he still learned a lot. The things he learned were not limited by the views of sects, and he would use whatever was useful. Although he didn't completely master the refining techniques of these sects, he could still be considered to have learned from them. Therefore, in the eyes of others, his refining techniques were both brilliant and strange. Lin Xiao nodded his head. Fellow Daoist Wu's talent is truly extraordinary. Learning many incomplete artifact refining methods, you can actually form your own sect. If he had a brilliant refining legacy and the guidance of a great teacher, his achievements would be unimaginable. Lin Daoyu is too kind. Is Daoyu satisfied with my magical artifacts and pills? Satisfied, of course. I'm not exposing my family's dirty linen, but even among the level 5 upper-grade refining masters in the Imperial Regency, there are very few who can compare to Daoyu. Saying so, he took out a storage bag. The market price of the Ink Dragon Water Parting Sword is 40,000 upper-grade spirit stones, and the 9 Death's Soul Returning Pill is 500 upper-grade spirit stones. This is the payment for Wu Daoyu, a total of 13,000 upper-grade spirit stones. Wang Daoyuan took the universe ring and asked, "What other magical artifacts does Lin Daoyu need me to refine?" "You can bring more over at once. My refining cauldron can nurture more than 10 magical artifacts at the same time. It's too wasteful to only refine 3 Ink Dragon Water Parting Swords at once." Lin Xiao was surprised. Looks like Wu Daoyu's refining cauldron is pretty good. There's not much demand for magical artifacts like the Ink Dragon Water Parting Swords. Right now, the greatest demand is the dragon hunting crossbow. Whether it's the crossbow or the arrows, they're all in short supply. This time, I've brought 100 sets of materials for Daoyu. The price of one set of crossbow bolts is 1,000 upper-grade spirit stones, and I'll pay you about 10% of the market price. Wang Daoyuan had naturally heard of the dragon hunting crossbow. It was a magic tool that came with the flying warships of the Sea of 7 Stars. It ranged from the 4th grade to the 6th grade. This item was extremely powerful, far surpassing the full-powered attack of a cultivator of the same level. Those items were not too much of a threat to cultivators. Their main purpose was to deal with the other party's flying warships. It was very difficult for a cultivator to defeat a flying warship of the same level. Even if they did, the flying warship's skin was thick and tough, making it difficult to completely destroy it. Dragon hunting crossbows posed a great threat to flying warships. After all, it was impossible for such a large warship to use evasive techniques. It could only rely on its own speed to evade. No matter how fast the flying warship was, it couldn't be faster than the crossbow bolts. It could only rely on the formation to block the bolts, and the dragon hunting crossbow's ferocious power could be unleashed. The most important thing about the dragon hunting crossbow was the bow, and the crafting method was kept a secret. However, the Divine Weapon Pavilion, the Valley of Beasts, and the Shenlian School all had the crafting method of this type of crossbow. For ordinary cultivators, this was something that was hard to come by. But for Wang Daoyuan, it was nothing special. Lin Xiao took out another universe ring and handed it to Wang Daoyuan. These are the materials and crafting method for the crossbow bolts. Daoyu, how long do you think it will take to complete the crafting? Wang Daoyuan took out the jade slip inside. The crafting method for the crossbow bolts was very simple. After all, it was a one-time use magic tool. It was much worse than a longsword of the same level in all aspects. With Wang Daoyuan's crafting skills, it would not be a problem for him to craft 3 or 4 of them in a day. He only needed to return 50 crossbow bolts for 100 sets of materials. It would take him more than 10 days to complete the crafting. Moreover, the crafting time for the crossbow bolts was relatively short. That's it? Half a year should be enough. If it wasn't for the fact that it takes up too much space, 2 months would be enough. Lin Daoyu, don't send me these materials next time. I don't expect to earn much more from working with the Imperial Regency than doing business with itinerant cultivators, but at least don't let me suffer a loss. I can only earn 5,000 superior-grade spirit stones in half a year. It's better to go out to sea and hunt demons. Lin Xiao could only smile apologetically. After all, it was not Wang Daoyuan's turn to craft the really good stuff. The only things he could refine were these worthless things. After sending Lin Xiao away, Wang Daoyuan carefully observed the materials. Although the Imperial Regency was not very good, the materials were still good. There were only 2 kinds of materials for crafting the crossbow bolts. The arrowhead was made of 5th-grade mid-grade rock-breaking iron, and the shaft was made of 5th-grade mid-grade blood-patterned golden bamboo. Rock-breaking iron was a relatively common metal material in the Sea of 7 Stars. It was very hard, but not very flexible. As the saying went, if it was too hard, it would break easily. Thus, rock-breaking iron was rarely used to craft long sword-type magic weapons. Instead, it was commonly used in shields, axes, and other heavy magic weapons. Blood-patterned golden bamboo was a 5th-grade superior-grade spiritual plant. The bamboo shaft was completely golden and had blood-red patterns on it. It was said that the bamboo leaves were blood-red. Metal-type spiritual plants naturally had a sharp aura and were often used to craft offensive magic weapons. Although it was of a very high grade, it inherited the trait of bamboo-type spiritual plants to reproduce quickly. After the bamboo roots were buried, many bamboo shoots would grow every year. Although a bamboo shoot needed 3,000 years to break through to 5th grade, as long as the place was big enough, there would be no shortage of bamboo after planting one. However, after the blood-patterned golden bamboo was broken, the bamboo strips were a bit brittle and not suitable for crafting flying swords. Only when the blood-patterned golden bamboo reached 10,000 years old and had a qualitative change in its material would it be suitable for crafting flying swords. Thus, this thing was often used to craft magic weapons like arrow shafts. The Imperial Regency was really cunning. Most of the arrow shafts that they sent over had been left for a long time and were already lifeless. Wang Daoyuan carefully examined the 100 blood-patterned golden bamboo and found a bamboo shaft that had not completely lost its vitality. Generally speaking, bamboo could not survive without a root. However, Some spiritual plant farmers had secret techniques that could allow rootless bamboo shafts to take root and survive. Wang Daoyuan naturally had such secret techniques. Together with the power of the fire of life, he might be able to revive this bamboo shaft. He stored this bamboo shaft in the space of the spirit pearl and planted it beside the fire of life. He had his clone use the secret technique to try and see if it could survive. If it was not for practice, Wang Daoyuan would not have personally crafted such a simple magic weapon. After half a month, he had successfully crafted 50 crossbow bolts. Although it was a bit difficult for the Xian cauldron to nurture 50 crossbow bolts at once, it was not impossible. After half a month, the blood-patterned golden bamboo that still had some vitality had also changed. The clone kept using the secret technique. With the nourishment of the vitality, this blood-patterned golden bamboo had already grown a few roots and a few blood-red bamboo leaves. The blood-patterned golden bamboo had taken root in the space of the spirit pearl and would multiply in the future. Yun-Yi, who had been sleeping for a long time, finally showed signs of waking up. Yun-Yi Tiger was only a rank 2 demon beast. Even in the Valley of Beasts, it could only nurture a rank 3 superior grade demon beast. Now, every time he broke through, he would create a historical record for the Yun-Yi Tiger species. The breakthrough this time was a bit big. Yun-Yi had indeed slept for a long time. At this time, Yun-Yi's spirit power was fluctuating more and more violently. She was already on the verge of breaking through. Wang Daoyuan took her out of the space of the spirit pearl. Zhou Luan asked, "What? Yun-Yi is about to break through?" "Yes, this guy has the bloodline of the soul-devouring dark tiger. Once it transcends the tribulation, it will definitely cause a big commotion. It's definitely not reliable to transcend the tribulation on the Fire Lotus Island. It's better to find an uninhabited island for it to transcend the tribulation." The two of them took the flying boat and headed southwest. In the entire Qixing Sea Xiuxian community, there were still many islands with spirit veins but no cultivators settled down. After all, the sea was not like the land. The island needed to be of a large enough size to resist the invasion of demon beasts. In only half a day, the two of them found a small island with a radius of 5 to 6 miles. There was also a rank 5 inferior grade spirit vein on the island. Wang Daoyuan placed Yun-Yi on the island and drew out some water and metal attribute spirit power and injected it into Yun-Yi's body. The spirit power of a soul formation cultivator was of great help to Yun-Yi. Yun-Yi soon woke up. This fellow was a little sleepy. "Master, where are we?" "Don't worry about where we are. You are about to break through. Quickly break through and then face the heavenly tribulation." Hearing that she was about to transcend the heavenly tribulation, Yun-Yi immediately became energetic. In addition to being lazy, she was also greedy for life and afraid of death. When she broke through to rank 4 last time, she was seriously injured. She also knew that her life might be endangered during the tribulation, so she had to be careful. Wang Daoyuan continued to inject spirit power into her body, and Yun-Yi also refined it. In less than 100 breaths, a powerful aura erupted from Yun-Yi's body. Her cultivation had successfully broken through to rank 5. At this time, tribulation clouds began to appear in the sky. Wang Daoyuan immediately left the island so as not to interfere with the heavenly tribulation. The surrounding spirit power also began to gather directly above the island, gradually expanding the tribulation clouds. In the end, the tribulation clouds expanded to a diameter of about 200 miles. It seemed that Yun-Yi's potential was still much worse than the red-feathered crows. When the red-feathered crow transcended the tribulation clouds reached a diameter of 300 miles. When a semi-divine beast broke through to rank 5, the tribulation clouds were about the same level. Yun-Yi's bloodline was still a little worse than a semi-divine beast's. Hopefully, after transcending the tribulation, her potential would increase. the heavenly tribulation soon arrived. It had to be said that Yun-Yi was a dumb cat with dumb luck. Relying on her own divine beast bloodline and the many precious spirit medicines in the space of the spirit pearl, her strength was not weak. A blue and white lightning ball fell, but it was actually shattered by his claw. She was unharmed and could even absorb a lot of tribulation power to temper her body and inner core. When a demon beast broke through to rank 5, it was the same as the human nascent soul formation heavenly tribulation. There were 5 heavenly tribulations of similar power. If she could withstand the first one, the rest was nothing to be afraid of. 2 hours later, Yun-Yi withstood the 5 heavenly tribulations unscathed. Her physical body and aura were greatly strengthened. A quarter of an hour later, a tiger roar came from the tribulation clouds. Then, a white tiger more than 10 feet long descended from the sky. This tiger's appearance was not much different from Yun-Yi's, but its aura was much stronger. This heavenly tribulation white tiger opened its mouth and let out another tiger roar. This tiger roar had the power to shock the soul. Not only that, but a gust of wind also flew out from the white tiger's mouth. Yun-Yi was a little stunned by the tiger roar and couldn't dodge the gust of wind. Many blood Taoists instantly appeared on her body. This gust of wind actually had extremely strong lethality. The gust of wind didn't dissipate directly. Instead, it turned into a tornado and trapped Yun-Yi. It seemed that Yun-Yi was finally about to awaken a new divine ability. The Imperial Wind divine ability was still relatively strong. It could be used to attack and defend, fight and escape. The divine ability was strong enough, but the stronger the divine ability, the more difficult it was to transcend the tribulation. Yun-Yi's entire tiger was wrapped in the tornado, and shocking wounds kept appearing on her body. If this continued, she had no hope of successfully transcending the tribulation. Chapter 10:19. Yun-Yi was a fat cat who had never suffered much. How could she bear this? He roared again and again, trying to disperse the tornado. However, his strength was clearly not enough. The tornado only trembled slightly before it continued to wrap around him. As a soul formation cultivator, Wang Daoyuan was extremely sensitive to the power of laws. This wind was not made up of wind attribute spiritual energy, but metal attribute spiritual energy. Through the rapid flow of spiritual energy, wind was generated, and then it continuously absorbed wood and water attribute spiritual energy from the outside world, thus forming a method similar to a wind attribute spell. As the saying goes, the clouds follow the dragon, and the wind follows the tiger. Even if the white tiger bloodline was not of the wind attribute, it could still control the wind. Bloodline talents were innate. The method seemed simple, but it was difficult to learn. The wind that the tribulation white tiger spat out was mainly of the metal element, so it was needless to say how lethal it was. Yun-Yi had been unscathed when she faced the heavenly tribulation head-on previously. Now, as long as she came into contact with a gust of wind, a wound nearly a foot long would appear on her body. Yun-Yi's intelligence was definitely not low now, and she knew that this could not go on. He shrunk his body to about a foot long, and a gust of wind appeared around him. This wind was similar to the wind spat out by the white tiger of calamity. It was mainly made up of metal element spiritual energy, mixed with some wind element spiritual energy. Since his body had shrunk, his range of contact with the outside world had decreased, and the amount of spiritual energy needed to protect himself had also decreased. The fierce wind controlled by the white tiger of heavenly tribulation was unable to break through his defense. Demonic beast's bloodline heavenly tribulation was the same as human's divine ability heavenly tribulation. After all, the heavenly tribulation was meant to test the cultivator, not to kill them. As long as the 5th stage heavenly tribulation could be delayed for an hour, it would be considered over. It was absolutely impossible to defeat the heavenly tribulation. The power of the divine ability tribulation and the bloodline heavenly tribulation depended on the strength of the person transcending the heavenly tribulation. They would always be stronger than the person transcending the heavenly tribulation. When Yunyi broke through to the fourth order, she relied on her wings to dodge attacks. This time, the heavenly tribulation white tiger used the wind-controlling divine ability, so Yunyi's wings couldn't help. Heaven's calamity white tiger saw that Xiaofan was unable to win and immediately pounced forward. Yunyi was determined to stall for time. She maintained her small figure and wrapped herself in a layer of spiritual power, allowing him to hit her however he wanted. The white tiger of heavenly tribulation used all kinds of methods, but even after an hour, it still couldn't completely finish off Yunyi. In the end, the white tiger could only detonate its own tribulation power to give Yunyi the final blow. Yunyi hadn't lived in vain all these years. Although the heavenly tribulation white tiger had self-detonated, she had only fainted. His life force was still very tenacious, and he didn't even need Wang Daoyuan to replenish his life force. A quarter of an hour later, a gift from the heavens descended. Soon, Yunyi woke up. Looking at the auspicious clouds in the sky and sensing the state of his body, he revealed a smile that was extremely similar to that of a human. I've finally survived another calamity. I can eat, drink, and play for another few hundred years. The gift from the heavens and earth of a rank 5 demonic beast was no longer of any use to Wang Daoyuan, so he didn't share any of it. After the gift from the heavens and earth, Yunyi instantly disappeared, bringing along a gust of wind. Then, he suddenly appeared beside Wang Daoyuan and Zhou Wan. His speed was far faster than an ordinary early-stage Yuanian cultivator, and his combat power was probably not weak. He shrunk his body to 1 foot long and rubbed against Wang Daoyuan's leg. Wang Daoyuan naturally knew what he meant and took out some spiritual fruits to feed him. When he was satisfied with the fruits, he kept them in the space of his spiritual pearl. Wang Daoyuan and Zhou Wan also set off to return to the Fire Lotus Island. When they arrived in front of their courtyard, they saw that there were cultivators watching them. These people were most likely sent by Lin Xiao. He was worried that they would escape without completing the refining task. Wang Daoyuan was too lazy to care about these things. Collecting high-grade refining materials was the most important thing in business. Half a year passed quickly, and Lin Xiao came to the small courtyard again. Wang Daoyuan gave him 50 crossbow bolts. Daoyu, take a look at these bolts. If there are no problems, give me the spirit stones. If you want to continue working with me, don't ask me to refine these things. If I have the time to refine these trash for the Imperial Regency, I might as well refine some magic tools and sell them to rogue cultivators. Lin Xiao smiled apologetically. Wu Daoyu, don't be offended. I've brought you something good this time. I'll give you 5 sets of materials. If you can refine them, I'll give you 100,000 high-grade spirit stones. It's just that this thing is not easy to refine. Can you do it? Wang Daoyuan only had a few 100,000 high-grade spirit stones. 100,000 high-grade spirit stones was indeed a high price. Don't keep me guessing. Just tell me what it is. If I can do it, I won't refuse. If I can't do it, I won't take this job either. Lin Xiao mysteriously took out a dozen jade slips. Wang Daoyuan casually took a jade slip and looked at it. There's no need to look. Isn't it just the flying warship spirit energy conversion device? I thought it was something mysterious. 100,000 high-grade spirit stones, you're really willing to spend. Refining the spirit energy conversion device was considered a hard and tiring job in refining the flying warship. Most blacksmiths were unwilling to do it. After all, rank 5 blacksmiths couldn't understand the law inscriptions. They could only follow the contents of the ancient books and inscribe them bit by bit. However, Wang Daoyuan had already mastered the common law inscriptions. Inscribing law inscriptions was not much different from inscribing tool inscriptions or array inscriptions. The materials used for the spirit energy conversion device were all good stuff. They were even better than the materials used for the flying warship's core. After all, the entire warship's spirit energy had to go through this device. 5 sets of materials meant that he had earned 4 sets for free. There was also a reward of 100,000 high-grade spirit stones. Only now did he realize that the Imperial Regency was really a good person. Lin Zhao's eyes lit up. You can refine this? Not many itinerant cultivators know this. You don't need to know how I do it, but it's not difficult at all. Give me 100,000 high-grade spirit stones and refining materials. If I don't need to nurture it, I can refine it in a year. Lin Zhao was overjoyed. Really? Leave the materials here. Just bring 100,000 high-grade spirit stones here a year later. Lin Zhao took out a cosmos ring. The materials are all here. I'll bring 100,000 high-grade spirit stones here a year later. Wang Daoyuan took the cosmos ring. The last time I went out, it was because the spirit beast I raised was going through a tribulation. You don't have to send someone to keep an eye on me. I won't leave if I can earn spirit stones. When it's time to leave, even a soul formation cultivator won't be able to stop me. Lin Zhao could only smile apologetically. Wu Daoyu, you must be joking. I'm just doing business. I don't mean anything else. After sending Lin Zhao away, Wang Daoyuan took out the refining materials. It was a grayish-white, high-quality, level 5 material called 100 alchemy gold. It wasn't a natural metal material, but a mixture of various metals and then forged with a secret method. This method could make up for the defects of some excellent metal materials and retain their advantages. Different forging secret methods and raw materials would lead to different characteristics and grades of 100 alchemy gold. Generally speaking, 100 alchemy gold had no obvious defects and could be refined into all kinds of magic artifacts. It was still very valuable. The 100 alchemy gold that Lin Zhao gave was more than 200 kilograms in total, which was indeed enough to refine 5 spiritual power conversion devices. It shouldn't be a problem to sell these level 5 high-quality 100 alchemy gold for 100,000 or 200,000 high-grade spirit stones. The Imperial Regency was really generous to use this thing to refine spiritual power conversion devices. Zhou Luan also came over to take a look. This is the legendary 100 alchemy gold? It's recorded in Blood Shadow's ancient books, but I've never seen it before. With my level, 1 set of materials is enough. If you want, I can refine a few magic artifacts for you with the rest. There aren't many level 5 high-quality materials. You can keep them for great use. I have a few magic artifacts left behind by the ancestors of Blood Shadow, so you don't have to worry about me. If you're busy refining, there's no point in me just watching. Let's go into your portable mystic realm. You can also take a look at the ancient books of the Valley of Beasts and supervise Yunyi's cultivation. Wang Daoyuan naturally had no objections. He put her into the space of the spirit pearl and cut out a piece of 100 alchemy gold to forge. With his current level, it would only take him 3 months to refine it directly. In order to deepen his understanding of the spiritual power conversion device and prepare to improve the inscriptions in the future, he patiently studied all the inscriptions. Sometimes, his primordial spirit would enter the space of the spirit pearl and use the flow of time to comprehend the inscriptions used on it. During the refining process, Wang Daoyuan also left a simple method inside a part. With this method alone, he had to prevent being discovered. Naturally, it couldn't affect the entire device too much, but it could allow him to sense the approximate location of this thing. If the Imperial Regency really had a son of Providence, it was only a matter of time before he dealt with them. With this thing, he might be able to find out where the Imperial Regency's nest was. Just as he was about to finish, a jade pendant in his cosmos ring broke. This jade pendant was the special communication jade pendant that Moon Sungcheon gave him. They had agreed that he would crush the jade pendant after he took back the position of the family head. The two jade pendants were refined with a secret method. If one of them broke, the other would also break. No matter how far away they were, even in a mystic realm, it was often used to send messages over a long distance. Now that the jade pendant was broken, there was a high chance that Moon Sungcheon had taken back the position of the family head. Even if the usurper had the protection of a soul formation cultivator, the Wen family wouldn't give up a soul formation cultivator and a few Yuanying cultivators for a usurper. Since Moon Sungcheon succeeded, Wang Daoyuan could also go and ask for his reward. As long as he could get a few suitable islands, he could return to Beiyuan Xiuxian and bring some people over. After refining the spiritual power conversion device and exchanging it for 100,000 upper-grade spirit stones, it was time to leave the Fire Lotus Island and go to the Endless Ice Sea. After spending a few days, he finished refining the spiritual power conversion device. When the one-year period came, Lin Xiao came as promised. Wang Daoyuan took out a cosmos ring. "It's here, take a look." Lin Xiao took the cosmos ring and checked the spiritual power conversion device inside. Then, he looked surprised. "I didn't expect Wu Daoyu to be so capable. To tell you the truth, a few level 5 artifact refiners in our sect worked together. It took them several years to refine a spiritual power conversion device, which is far inferior to yours. Here are 100,000 upper-grade spirit stones. I wonder if Wu Daoyu would like to continue refining this spiritual power conversion device?" Wang Daoyuan took the storage bag. "I have to go to the south for something, and it may take me a few years to come back. When I come back, as long as your sect can fulfill this condition, I will be willing to continue refining it." Lin Xiao certainly didn't want him to go. If he didn't make good use of such a coolie, it would be a waste. Unfortunately, most of the Imperial Regency's forces were on the Sea of Seven Stars to deal with the Seven Stars Alliance. There were only a few people on the Fire Lotus Island. If they dared to stop them, they would be courting death. Chapter 10-20. After Wang Daoyuan finished speaking, he stared at Lin Xiao. His face was also somewhat conflicted. He was probably wondering if he should make a move. In the end, he could only sigh. It's a pity that Daoyu can't continue to help the Imperial Regency refine artifacts. Then I wish Daoyu a safe journey and return to the Fire Lotus Island as soon as possible. I still have a lot of refining tasks waiting for Daoyu. Wang Daoyuan cupped his hands and said, "Daoyu, don't worry. When I return to the Fire Lotus Island in the future, I will definitely find Daoyu." The two chatted for a while more. Lin Xiao left the small courtyard with a heavy heart. The little trick in the spiritual power conversion device might not work. The Imperial Regency had a heritage of tens of thousands of years. Such a big force couldn't lack capable people. It wasn't a big deal to be discovered. It was just a casual move. If this plan didn't work, there was no loss. If it worked, it would be a huge gain. Wang Daoyuan opened the small courtyard's formation and brought Zhou out of the space of the spiritual pearl. "Why did you bring me out? I've read all the books in your secret realm." In the past year, Zhou had spent most of her time in the space of the spiritual pearl. Her cultivation had already reached the peak of Yuanying. It was just that the soul formation tribulation was too risky. It was best to train her mind before the tribulation. Her greatest interest was to read some secrets. After all, she was in the intelligence business before. Although she didn't have to manage the intelligence business herself now, she was still used to it. The heritage of the Valley of Beasts has been accumulated for hundreds of thousands of years. You won't be able to completely understand it even if you spend another few thousand years. The jade pendant that the Moon Sungcheon gave me was broken. Now we are going to the endless ice sea to get the reward. After choosing a place to stay, we will return to Beiyuan Xiuxian. If you don't want to come out, I will go to the Wen family alone. You want to meet your old flame while I'm not around? Dream on. Wang Daoyuan hurriedly changed the topic. Why would I have such thoughts? By the way, Lord Shadow Master, how is your artifact spirit? Zhou Luan waved her hand, and a scarlet luan flew out. The crimson phoenix circled around Zhou Luan a few times, and let out a phoenix cry that sounded like a clear spring. From the looks of it, it should have taken shape. However, compared to Wang Daoyuan's 5 artifact spirits, their foundations were much weaker, and they were only at the upper grade of the 5th stage. My artifact spirit is not as dumb as your 5 artifact spirits. Things take after their master. Lord Shadow Master is extremely intelligent, so the artifact spirit he raised is naturally the same. These words made Zhou Luan very happy, and she no longer mentioned the Black Ice Fairy. The two of them packed up and left the small courtyard. Wang Daoyuan activated all the formations in the small courtyard, and then drove the flying boat to the southwest. After flying southwest for 2 or 3 days, the two of them changed to Lei Peng's flying boat and turned north. On the way, they naturally released 2 clones to drive the flying boat, and recorded the islands and sea conditions along the way. Wang Daoyuan and Zhou Luan stayed in the cabin, discussing some questions about cultivation and life. Half a month later, the flying boat arrived at the edge of the endless ice sea. The two of them changed to an ordinary flying boat and went to the mystic realm where they healed Moon Sungcheon. When they arrived at the small mountain outside the mystic realm, someone immediately came out to greet them. This person was Moon Sungcheon. Wang Daoyuan cupped his hands and said, "Should I call you Master Wen now? Speaking of which, I have to thank Daoyu. If it weren't for your help, I wouldn't have been able to take back the position of Master. I've already prepared the reward for Daoyu. Let's talk inside." Wang Daoyuan and Zhou Luan followed behind him and entered the mystic realm. As soon as they entered the mystic realm, Wang Daoyuan immediately summoned his 5 natal magic artifacts to protect himself. "Wen Daoyu, this is a bit unkind. No matter what, I helped you. In this small mystic realm, there are 2 cultivators in the middle stage of the soul formation realm. Are you trying to ambush me?" An old voice sounded, "Ha ha ha, little friend Zhou is indeed extraordinary. He can refine 5 natal magic artifacts at the same time, and they all have spirits. The force behind little friend is definitely not something our Wen family can compare to. The two of us are only here to meet the young heroes. We have no intention of offending them. Besides, such a small mystic realm can't withstand a battle between soul formation realm cultivators. If the mystic realm is destroyed, we can't guarantee that we can escape unscathed." Moon Sungcheon also smiled and said, "These are the 2 grand elders of our Wen family. They heard about Daoyu and wanted to come and see." Wang Daoyuan put away his magic artifacts. "Since the 2 of you are here, why didn't you tell me in advance? Were you worried that I wouldn't dare to come in? I didn't think this through. Please forgive me, Daoyu." The old voice said again, "Little friend Zhou, please come to this stone room for a chat. The Wen family won't go back on our promises. The reward for Daoyu is in this stone room." Wang Daoyuan held Zhou Luan's hand and walked into the stone room. If there was a trap, it wouldn't be a big deal. The two of them hid in the space of the spiritual pearl. Even a powerful cultivator couldn't do anything to the spiritual pearl. After entering the stone room, they saw 2 elders sitting on the main seats. The 2 of them were wearing ice blue and fire red robes respectively. It could be seen that they were ice and fire cultivators respectively. The blue-robed cultivator smiled. "I am the Grand Elder of the Wen family. Thank you, little friend Zhou, for saving Cheng Tian and healing his injuries. Our Wen family has another soul formation realm cultivator. Wang Daoyuan waved his hand. Senior One, you don't have to be like this. I just have a request. The red-robed cultivator's tone was slightly unfriendly. I heard that when the Seven Stars Mystic Realm opened, little friend Zhou was only in the early Yuanying realm. The sword intent you displayed then resonated with the things in the Ziwei Palace. Is that true? Wang Daoyuan didn't hold back and directly released the Guiyuan sword intent. The strong killing intent shocked the three of them. This is my sword intent. Seeing that Wang Daoyuan wanted to show off, the blue-robed cultivator hurriedly tried to smooth things over. My younger brother's temper isn't very good. Little friend, please forgive him. This sword intent is indeed strong. In comparison, the sword cultivator inheritances of the Alioth sword sect are like child's play. However, such a strong sword intent has never appeared in the Sea of Seven Stars. May I know where little friend's master is and what relationship do you have with the Shunlian school? I don't have any direct relationship with the Shunlian school. It's just that an elder in the family was an old friend of one of the Shunlian school's sect masters. There was a relic left behind by an elder in the Ziwei Palace. I just happened to come across it and took it back. With this, the two grand elders were intimidated. They were even more convinced that Wang Daoyuan had an extremely strong family behind him. Wang Daoyuan struck while the iron was hot. I've discussed the remuneration with the one family head. May I know how the two seniors will arrange it? The red-robed cultivator took out 2 golden books. These are the original copies of the 2 golden books that the Wen family's disciples snatched when they entered the Ziwei Palace. Since Cheng Tian has already agreed, you can copy the copies yourself. Wang Daoyuan waved his hand and the 2 golden books instantly appeared in his hands. The 3 Wen family members were very shocked. How could he snatch something from a mid-soul formation cultivator without him being able to react? If this method was used to kill, it would be very difficult to dodge. The law of space can actually snatch something from second brother's hands in an instant. As expected, the younger generation will surpass us in time. I'm afraid this old man is no longer little friend's opponent. Wang Daoyuan flipped through the 2 golden books and at the same time, had his doppelganger in the space of the spiritual pearl copy them down. Of the 2 golden books, one was an ordinary refining technique. Wang Daoyuan really didn't care about it. The other book was a level 6 puppet technique. Back then, he had snatched 3 puppet technique manuals, from level 1 to level 5. This level 6 puppet technique was just right for him. After he finished copying, the 2 golden books disappeared from his hands and reappeared in the hands of the red-robed cultivator. You're too kind, Grand Elder. How should we arrange this island? The blue-robed cultivator took out a beast skin scroll. After he opened it, rays of light appeared on the beast skin. Finally, the light formed a light map. Moon Sungcheon pointed to the center of the map and said, "This is Mystic Ice Island." There are several volcanic islands more than 300,000 miles to the southwest called the Earth Flame Archipelago. Although there are level 6 spirit veins there are also a few level 6 spirit beasts there. The Wen family's strength is not enough to take over the Earth Flame Archipelago. Plus, we don't have many people, so we haven't thought about taking over there. If Dao Yu is strong enough, you can settle down here. The Wen family's arrangement was a test. If the power behind Wang Daoyuan was strong enough and he didn't care about a few level 6 spirit beasts, he would naturally choose to take over the Earth Flame Archipelago. If he wasn't strong enough, he would give up on this place. Wang Daoyuan was rather tempted by the Earth Flame Archipelago. A place with volcanoes would usually have a lot of high-level refining materials. Furthermore, the land around the volcanoes was more fertile and suitable for opening up spirit fields. With the volcanoes, it was also convenient to build a fire chamber to refine pills. He could also use the fire power of the volcanoes to set up an array to dissolve the cold air from the depths of the endless ice sea and create a territory suitable for ordinary people to live in. As for the volcanic eruption, it was even less of a problem. A volcanic eruption was originally caused by the excess spirit energy in the lava that was accumulated in one place. With Wang Daoyuan's cultivation and attainments in array formations, it wouldn't take much effort to draw out the excess fire and earth spirit energy in the lava. Furthermore, there was the scarlet yang true fire and the dust returning flame. No matter how much spirit energy there was, it would be consumed. I want this land. A few level 6 spirit beasts are nothing to be afraid of. I also want some level 6 refining materials. I wonder if the Wen family can sell some. The red-robed cultivator chuckled. The Wen family has a foundation of tens of thousands of years. Naturally, we don't lack level 6 refining materials. However, what can our little friend use to exchange for them? You can't use spirit stones to exchange for level 6 refining materials, right? When I was traveling in the myriad demon islands, there were many cultivators who escaped from the rare treasure island. After some investigation, I learned a lot about the situation of the rare treasure island. I wonder if the Wen family is interested in the reason why the Blood Shark and the Seven Stars Alliance are fighting. The two strongest forces in the Qixing Sea Xiuxian community were fighting. Naturally, others would want to know the inside story. The blue-robed cultivator took out a cold metal material from his storage ring. This is level 6 low-grade deep abyss frost iron. If placed in an extremely cold place, it has a chance of breaking through level 6 mid-grade. This piece weighs more than 50 kilograms. It won't be a problem to sell it for 1,000,000 high-grade spirit stones. It seemed that the Wen family was really anxious. It was a good opportunity to extort them. Senior, this refining material is not ordinary. I can tell you the information I've gathered. Based on this information and the secret information I've gathered, I made some conjectures. The results of these conjectures are more important than the information I've gathered. The blue-robed cultivator glanced at the red-robed cultivator. The red-robed cultivator clenched his teeth and took out a fist-sized fiery red crystal. This is a lava fire crystal. You're also a refiner. I don't need to tell you its value. Chapter 1021. Wang Daoyuan was well aware of the value of these two materials. The abyss frost iron was nurtured in the ice sea and was an ice attribute material. Other than being able to release a huge amount of cold air to hurt the enemy, it could also absorb a large amount of cold air. A magic tool forged from deep abyss frigid iron had a miraculous effect against ice-type cultivators. Furthermore, the strength of the abyss frost iron was extremely high and was one of the best among the same grade of materials. No matter what kind of magic weapon was forged, there was no need to consider the issue of strength. 100 kilograms of abyss frost iron was worth 1,000,000 spirit stones. If it was placed on Rare Treasures Island, people would fight for it for 1.5 million spirit stones. The value of the lava fire crystal was much higher than the abyss frost iron. From the name, one could tell that it was nurtured in the lava. Furthermore, to nurture the lava fire crystal, the lava had to nurture the earth fire. The lava fire crystal was formed from some metal materials that had been roasted for a long time by the earth fire to remove all impurities and absorb a huge amount of earth fire essence. The value of the earth fire essence depended on its foundation. Different metal materials would form different lava fire crystals. No matter what kind of lava fire crystal it was, its value was extremely high. Even if its strength was not high, the earth fire essence it contained was not just for show. When forging a fire attribute magic weapon, adding some as supplementary materials could greatly increase the value of the magic weapon. When a magic weapon was added with earth fire essence, its power would be greatly increased when using fire attribute techniques. Furthermore, This thing also had the characteristic of rapidly absorbing fire attribute spiritual energy and had a certain restraining effect on fire attribute opponents. Apart from that, the lava fire crystal could also exert some effects of the fire essence. If this thing was used to nurture the spirit fire, it would be extremely beneficial for increasing the grade and power of the spirit fire. Although the abyss frost iron was precious, there were no ice attribute cultivators in the Wang family with outstanding talent. Using such a good material for refining tools to refine ordinary magic tools was truly a waste of God's gifts. However, the lava fire crystal was more valuable. There were many fire attribute cultivators in the Wang family and many of them had matured. Wang Daoyuan put away the two kinds of refining materials. The two seniors are really generous. I can't be stingy anymore. According to the rogue cultivators on Rare Treasure Island at that time, a few years before Blood Shark attacked Rare Treasure Island, there were frequent undersea earthquakes in the southern waters of Rare Treasure Island. Moreover, there were also loose cultivators who went to investigate, saying that they had discovered the aura of spatial laws. Blood Shark and the Seven Stars Alliance also sent people to seal off the area where the earthquake occurred. With the Wen clan's tens of thousands of years of heritage, they should know what this means. Moon Sungcheon nodded. It is said that before the appearance of the Seven-Star Secret Realm, there was a similar phenomenon. Rumor has it that the two sides started the war over the Secret Realm. Looks like it's true. The red-robed cultivator was enraged. Junior, you're asking for a piece of deep abyss frost iron and a lava fire crystal just because of that bit of information? Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, Senior, don't be anxious. The two sides didn't start the war just for this. Think about it, if it was just for this secret realm, why didn't they start a war when it was first discovered? They even sent cultivators to seal off the news and only started the war a few years later. What I'm going to say next can't be recorded in the Wen clan's ancient records. The three of them were intrigued and stared at Wang Daoyuan with wide eyes. A few days before the Blood Shark took action, a strange golden kirin suddenly appeared in a Blood Shark's shop in the market of Rare Treasures Island. This strange kirin's power far exceeded that of a soul formation cultivator and was more than 1,000 feet long. After appearing for a dozen breaths, it disappeared into thin air. None of the surrounding buildings were damaged and none of the cultivators were injured. The red-robed cultivator hurriedly said, Don't keep us in suspense. It's just a demonic beast with Kirin's bloodline. Although it's rare, it's not like it hasn't appeared before. Of course, demonic beasts with Kirin's bloodline are not rare. However, have you heard of a Kirin that has the characteristics of a true dragon, a Kirin, and a pair of phoenix wings? The three of them looked at each other and the blue-robed cultivator said, The bloodlines of the divine beasts are mixed and they might restrain each other. It's very difficult to produce an expert. With three types of divine beasts' bloodlines in one body, 99% of the demonic beasts born will be trash. Even if they're not trash, they're far inferior to a semi-divine beast. It's impossible for them to be very powerful. Since you dare to quote such a price, you must know what it is. Hurry up and tell us. This thing is not a Kirin's bloodline, but a Kirin's ancestor. There's a rumor in my clan that when the Qian Yuan realm was first formed, some spirit clans were born. Among these spirit clans, there's an extremely powerful spirit beast called Yinglong. He's the ancestor of the current 5 elements divine beasts. In terms of strength, he's one of the best. I wonder if there's any record of him in the Wen clan's ancient records? The blue-robed cultivator shook his head. I've been in charge of the Wen clan for more than 2,000 years, but I've never seen anything about Yinglong. This Yinglong is the ancestor of the Dragon clan. His entire body is bright yellow, and he has a pair of wings. The Phoenix clan's wings are inherited from him. Yinglong gave birth to Kenma, and Kenma gave birth to Kirin. Although I haven't seen this strange Kirin with my own eyes, I can basically confirm that this thing is Kenma from the information provided by the itinerant cultivator. He's the son of Yinglong and the ancestor of Kirin. Naturally, he has the characteristics of both. Kenma's bloodline is far above the 5 elements divine beasts. Has the Wen clan ever heard of a divine beast stronger than the 5 elements divine beasts? The 3 of them shook their heads together. Wang Daoyuan continued, Yinglong is not only powerful, but also a symbol of providence. Ordinary cultivators will suffer a backlash from providence if they draw Yinglong's image. Therefore, no one has ever dared to use Yinglong's image to refine magic tools or create magic arts. There are only some descriptions of his image. Kenma has Yinglong's bloodline, so he must have inherited part of Yinglong's providence. Therefore, this Kenma can't be created by magic tools or magic arts. The Sea of 7 Stars doesn't have a rank 7 spirit vein, so it's impossible to breed such a powerful divine beast. At that time, Kenma's body also had some purple light. I guess there are 2 possibilities. First, a supreme treasure from the primordial era appeared on Rare Treasures Island. This supreme treasure is extremely extraordinary, and it's very likely to be directly related to Kenma. However, only one Kenma has ever appeared in the world. How could it so coincidentally appear in such a remote place like the Sea of 7 Stars? Second, someone opened up the Purple Palace. This Kenma is a Purple Palace anomaly. The Wen family should know what it means to have a Purple Palace anomaly that far surpasses the 5 elements divine beasts and has extremely strong providence. The blue-robed elder gasped. A son of providence. Wang Daoyuan smiled and nodded. I think so too. Whether it's a primordial era supreme treasure or a son of providence, Blood Shark will greatly improve his strength. Rare Treasures Island is the balance between the 2 forces. This matter can't be hidden from the 7 Stars Alliance. Blood Shark probably wants to strike first and gain the upper hand by taking down Rare Treasures Island first. Senior, since you know about the Son of Providence, you must know about the Battle of Providence. The blue-robed elder nodded. I obtained many books from the 7 Stars mystic realm, so I know a little about this matter. The Qixing Sea Xiuxian community is located in the Qianyuan realm. Every time the Qianyuan realm has a great tribulation, many cultivators with great providence will appear. These people grow much faster than ordinary people. When they cultivate to the mighty figure realm, they will start the battle of providence. The final winner will become the tribulation taker and resist the impending tribulation. The person who helps the Son of Providence win will also receive some providence and become a top force in the Qianyuan realm. It's not impossible to nurture an Earth Immortal in the future. Upon hearing this, the red-robed elder's face lit up with excitement. Then if we join Blood Shark, won't the Wen family be able to advance further in the future? The blue-robed elder shouted sternly, Fool, the Qianyuan realm has more than one Sea of 7 Stars. Legend has it that in the southwest direction, beyond the decimating heaven abyss, there is a continent. That is the core of the Qianyuan realm. On that continent, there are many Earth Immortal legacies, countless mighty figure and Mahayana legacies. Every Son of Providence has to participate in the Battle of Providence. The Sea of 7 Stars has such a weak foundation. Can the Son of Providence here deal with the Son of Providence on the Qianyuan continent? If we join Blood Shark, will our Wen family attack the entire Qianyuan continent with the Son of Providence, or will we wait until the strongest person on the Qianyuan continent is determined before fighting with them? We have almost no chance of winning if we follow Blood Shark's Son of Providence. Even if we win, what can we do? Can the benefits our Wen family get be as big as Blood Shark? Once we fail, I'm afraid our Wen family will be in danger of being exterminated. Are we crazy to risk being exterminated to fight for the position of the second most powerful force in the Sea of 7 Stars? Moon Sungcheon asked, then what should our Wen family do? Blood Shark has the help of the Son of Providence. Over time, the possibility of taking down the Seven Stars Alliance is very high. The blue-robed elder smiled and said, "Since little friend Zhou said this, you must have some ideas. Why don't you tell us?" "Senior, what you said is generally correct. It's just that I know more. The Son of Providence isn't born with heaven-defying providence. Instead, as their cultivation increases, their providence will gradually increase. The Son of Providence in Blood Shark's hands should have just opened his Violet Palace. No matter how strong his providence is, it will only affect his luck and cultivation speed. A Violet Palace realm cultivator won't affect the outcome of the battle too much. Now that Blood Shark has taken down Rare Treasure Island, they have the upper hand. The two forces haven't fought for more than 2,000 years, so they should have accumulated a lot of resources. It will probably take another 100 or 200 years to determine the winner. During this time, it's best to bide their time. When the Seven Stars Alliance is exhausted, the Wen family will help. It'll be best if they can eliminate Blood Shark. Even if they can't completely eliminate it, they have to suppress it. As long as they delay, when the Son of Providence on the Qianyuan continent attacks, Blood Shark's Son of Providence won't be able to do much. By then, the Wen family will work with the Son of Providence from the outside to eliminate Blood Shark. By limiting Blood Shark's contribution, the Son of Providence from the outside will give us some benefits. We won't have to risk the destruction of our family, and we can still gain a lot of benefits. Moon Sungcheon and the red-robed elder were delighted, but the blue-robed elder was calm. "Then what about Daoyou's force, Zhou? Since my family has decided to settle down in the frozen tundra and is deeply involved with the Wen family, we will naturally advance and retreat together with the Wen family. In the Battle of Providence, no matter how well we hide, we will be involved. Plus, there will be a great calamity later. We can't hide from it. If the Wen family doesn't mind that my family is weak, I am willing to form an alliance with the Wen family. When one side is attacked, the other side will have to fight the enemy together." The three semi-god realm cultivators of the Wen family started to discuss this through telepathy. Wang Daoyuan was happy to have some free time. He quietly waited for them to come to a conclusion. After a long time, the blue-robed elder said, "Of course, we are very tempted by little friend Zhou's suggestion. However, the Wen family doesn't know much about our little friend's family. This alliance is a bit hasty. This is just a suggestion. After this is over, I will return to my family and report this to the elders. Next time, I will bring some of my family members to settle down in the Earth Flame Islands. After we have a firm foothold, we will formally discuss the alliance with the Wen family." The blue-robed elder said with a smile, "That's good. I can make a promise. As long as you are sincere, the Wen family is willing to form an alliance with you." Chapter 1022. With this, Wang Daoyuan was relieved. The Wen family promised that they would show more strength the next time they came. He was not afraid that the Wen family would not form an alliance. With this alliance, there was a foundation for cooperation. In the future, the two families would formally form an alliance and cooperate for a few decades. The low-level cultivators would then marry. The Wang family and the Wen family were like the Yang family in the past. The relationship between the two families was very harmonious. When one side was strong, the other side would naturally rely on it. There would be no conflicts in between. After all, both sides had been relatives for many years. If one side relied on the other, they would have many in-laws and cousins to rely on. There was no need to worry about a future. If he broke through to the Mahayana realm, the Wen family would naturally become a subordinate force of the Wang family, just like the Yang family in the past. If the Wang family's higher-ups had some marriage alliances with the Wen family would also become the Wang family's hardcore. In particular, the Wen family's grand elder was a smart person who knew who he could not provoke. Such a person was easy to deal with and would not do anything stupid. Although he was not young, it would not be a problem for him to live for more than 1,000 years. 1,000 years was enough for him to cultivate to the almighty realm. At that time, even if the Wen family changed the helmsman and the new helmsman was a fool, he would not dare to go against the Almighty. With Senior's words, I'm relieved. I have to return to the family as soon as possible, so I won't stay here for long. I hope the Wen family will pay more attention to the blood shark's matter. After saying that, he took out a jade pendant. When my people migrate over, I will crush this jade pendant. At that time, our two families can discuss cooperation in some business. If there are any big changes in the Sea of 7 Stars, you can crush the jade pendant. I will rush over as soon as possible. This jade pendant was refined by the clone using the secret technique of the Valley of Beasts. Whether it was the materials used or the refining method, it was much better than the jade pendant that Moon Sungcheon had given him. This was also a means to scare the Wen family and make them believe that there was a powerful hidden family behind him. Moon Sungcheon took the jade pendant. Wang Daoyuan took Zhou Wan and walked out. The 3 members of the Wen clan followed behind to see them off. Outside the secret realm, Wang Daoyuan cupped his hands and said, "The 3 of you don't have to see us off anymore. We'll take our leave now." After saying that, he directly took out Lei Peng's flying boat. The 2 of them boarded the flying boat and headed southwest. In order to show off his strength, Wang Daoyuan even increased the speed of Lei Peng's flying boat to the extreme. The entire flying boat quickly disappeared from the sight of the Wen clan's trio. Wen clan's second supreme elder sucked in a breath of cold air. "Big brother, have you heard of this kind of flying boat? Judging from its speed, it should be able to fly around 40,000 kilometers in 2 hours. A grade 5 flying magic tool can actually reach such a speed." First Supreme Elder shook his head. "I've never seen one either. A 6th-tier flying magic tool can have this kind of speed, but that would require a mid-tier 6th-tier item. Although there are many ancient books and precious spiritual plants in the 7 Stars secret realm, I've never found a flying magic tool. It seems that the power behind Zhou Ming is not simple. Even a flying magic tool is so extraordinary. In addition to that powerful sword intent, the 5 life-bound magic tools have weapon spirits, and all kinds of secrets that we don't know. We can be sure that the power behind Zhou Ming is much stronger than our Wen clan." Second Supreme Elder asked, "Will our Wen clan become Zhou Ming's subordinate power in the future? The great tribulation of heaven and earth is coming. It's good enough that we can keep our inheritance." The few words in the Shunlian school's ancient books also mentioned that countless forces would disappear every time there was a great tribulation of heaven and earth. Didn't even Shunlian school disappear? It's very likely because of the last great tribulation of heaven and earth. For a force like our Wen clan that doesn't even have a Mahayana cultivator, we can't even find a place to ride the coattails of a mighty figure or an earth immortal. Now that we can form an alliance with Zhou Ming's family, we can be considered as huddling together for warmth. It will be easier for us to ride on their coattails in the future. If this force is really strong enough, what can we do if we directly join them? How about we find a way to marry Zhou Ming? Even if our Wen clan's woman becomes his concubine. The first elder shook his head. I actually didn't sense any decaying aura from Zhou Ming's body. Cheng Tian saw him before he broke through to the soul formation realm. At that time, he also didn't have a trace of decay. This means that he is very young. He should be less than 500 years old. How many people like him have there been in the history of the Sea of 7 Stars? But he only chose to marry one Dao companion. Do you think this Zhou Wan is an ordinary person? Moon Sungcheon shook his head. This woman has the bloodline of a divine beast, which means that she has an extraordinary background. She also doesn't have a trace of decay. She should be young. Zhou Ming values her so much. The elders in this woman's family are definitely not weak. If we meddle in their affairs and anger the elders in Zhou Wan's family, the Wen clan may be destroyed. First Supreme Elder nodded repeatedly. Cheng Tian is right. We shouldn't meddle in the affairs of the force behind Zhou Ming. We can agree to whatever they want as long as it doesn't harm the interests of the Wen clan. On the other side, Wang Daoyuan didn't return to Beiyuan Xiuxian directly. Instead, he took a detour to the Earth Flame Archipelago. After the flying boat flew for more than 10,000 miles, Zhou Wan smiled and said, "Your acting is really good. You managed to fool the 3 old guys of the Wen clan. They should be convinced that there is a very strong force behind you now. Also, this force has been passed down since ancient times. Its foundation is not inferior to the Shunlian school. That's not wrong. Although Beiyuan has declined, its cultivation methods and foundation are still far superior to the Sea of 7 Stars. With my portable secret realm, I can cultivate a large number of Yuanying experts in 100 years. Especially Mingchen. He should be able to reach the soul formation realm in 200 or 300 years. Plus, you, me, Yen, and Jia Qi. Our Wang clan's strength will soon surpass the Wen clan." The flying boat arrived at the eastern part of the Earth Flame Archipelago. From afar, they saw 6 volcanoes that were more than 3,000 feet tall. 3 of them were slowly leaking lava. These 6 volcanoes were divided into ribbons that stretched for more than 30,000 miles from the west to the east. Sensing the spirit energy waves in the lava, they should all be at the 6th stage. This place was around 50,000 miles away from the southern edge of the ice field. The Lone Star Island was at the northwest edge of the Sea of 7 Stars. The Earth Flame Archipelago was more than 1,000,000 miles away from the northwest of the Lone Star Island. It was considered far away from the Sea of 7 Stars. Since it was so far away, there was no need to worry about the Sea of 7 Stars causing trouble. Although it was in the endless ice sea, the volcanoes weren't completely covered in ice. The flying boat circled around the Earth Flame Archipelago. There were 6 large islands and more than 20 small islands. The 6 large volcanoes were located on the 6 large islands. The westernmost island was also the largest, with a diameter of more than 2,000 miles. There was a 6th-stage neutral spirit vein on the island. Apart from a large volcano and a few small hills, the rest were flat. It was perfect for developing spirit fields. The other 5 islands weren't much smaller than this one, with diameters of more than 500 miles. As long as these 6 large islands could stabilize the volcanoes, it wouldn't be a problem to feed millions of people. If there were enough Qiankuan gourds to grow spirit grains, it wouldn't be a problem to feed tens of millions of people. There were also many volcanoes on the 20 small islands. It was just that the islands were too small and the volcano's influence was too great. It wasn't suitable for ordinary clansmen to live in. However, it wasn't a bad idea to let cultivators breed spirit beasts there. No one had lived here before, so the islands didn't have names. They were just called the Earth Flame Archipelago. In the future, the Earth Flame Archipelago would fall into the hands of the Wang clan, so they might as well give it a name. The 7 large islands in the Sea of 7 Stars were named after the Big Dipper. Wang Daoyuan planned to name the 6 large islands according to the 6 stars of the Big Dipper. From west to east, they were Heavenly Treasury Island, Heavenly Bridge Island, Heavenly Fate Island, Heavenly Unity Island, Heavenly Phase Island, and 7 Kills Island. As for the other small islands, he would leave them to the cultivators of his clan to name. Although the distribution of the islands had nothing to do with the 6 stars of the Big Dipper, it wasn't a big deal to name them that way. After all, there weren't any other islands in the Qixing Sea Xiuxian community with this name. Liao Yang and Chen Zhou's clones had long been brought out. One of them was steering the flying boat while the other was recording the sea situation of the Earth Flame Archipelago. The volcanoes of the 6 large islands all had the aura of 6th-stage demon beasts. Lei Peng's flying boat didn't get too close. It only flew past them 500 miles away. Wang Daoyuan and Zhou Wan both retracted their auras, and the demon beasts didn't make a move either. When they reached the westernmost heavenly treasury island, there was a powerful dragon aura in the volcanoes. From the looks of it, there should be a 6th-stage dragon hidden in the volcanoes. The flying boat didn't dare to get close. It just circled around the southern part of the island. However, the demon beasts on the heavenly treasury island didn't know how to appreciate favors. A dragon's roar resounded through the sky, and a fiery red flood dragon flew out of the volcanoes. Lava was slowly flowing out of the volcanoes, and under this guy's interference, it began to shake. After a few breaths, the blazing lava spewed out more than 2,000 feet high. This flood dragon's appearance wasn't bad. Except for the fact that it only had 3 fingers on its 4 claws, it was no different from a real dragon. Obviously, this was a semi-divine beast. Moreover, this guy's cultivation wasn't low. It had already reached the 6th stage. Fighting such a demon beast really wasn't a joke. Wang Daoyuan instructed, "Shadow Lord, take the flying boat to the west first. I'll play with this flood dragon." After saying that, he turned into a silver light and instantly disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already more than 200 miles north of the flying boat. The flood dragon also flew over and roared at Wang Daoyuan, "A bug-like human dares to wander in front of me. I haven't eaten a human for hundreds of years. You're just right." After saying that, it spat out a huge fireball. Wang Daoyuan took out the Xian cauldron and took the fireball. Then, he activated his divine ability domain, and 30th water divine thunders appeared out of thin air and smashed toward the flood dragon. This flood dragon's strength wasn't bad. Its body was wrapped in a thick layer of lava. The 10th water divine thunders were all blocked. The 10th water divine thunders that had been deduced to the 6th stage were still not enough. Especially the lack of penetration ability, they were all blocked by 10% of the lava. Next, he tested the power of the Heavenly Dipper sword formation, but it was also blocked by the lava. After returning to Beiyuan, he had to deduce it properly. If the quality wasn't enough, quantity would make up for it. Wang Daoyuan relied on his divine ability domain to continuously use the 10th water divine thunders. The flood dragon used all its energy to defend and had no time to counterattack. After a dozen breaths, the flood dragon felt that it had no chance of winning. It turned around and flew back into the volcano. Wang Daoyuan didn't chase after it. He returned to Lei Peng's flying ship. Zhou Wan didn't fly far either. She kept watching Wang Daoyuan and the flood dragon fight. "Why didn't you take down the flood dragon? With your strength, it shouldn't be hard to keep it. It's a 6th stage mid-grade demon beast, and a half-divine beast. Any one of its scales can be made into a 6th stage Dharma artifact. It's useless to take it down. When we return to Beiyuan, we still have to deal with the demons there. We won't be able to get there without spending some time. If we kill the flood dragon now, other demons will come and occupy it. A 6th stage mid-grade non-elemental spirit vein and a volcano. There might even be a 6th stage mine on the island. The temptation is too great. If the Wen family is tempted and occupies this place in advance. If we fall out with the Wen family, all our previous efforts will be wasted. If we don't fall out, we won't be able to find such a good place to stay. Even if the Wen family doesn't make a move, the Wen family isn't the only one on Mystic Island. There are other small forces. If the human heart can't withstand the test, it's better to keep the flood dragon in case someone becomes greedy. Chapter 1023. Xiaofan nodded. You're so thoughtful. Can we go back to Beiyuan Xiaoxian now? I've never left Beiyuan. I really miss the kids. It's good to be powerful. Including the time we spent on the road, we've almost finished everything in less than 10 years. You've reached the peak of the Yuanying realm. You have the secret skill to transform your spiritual power into divine sense. I'll help you cultivate. It's only a matter of time before you reach the perfect level. When you reach the perfect level, you can break through to the semi-god realm. The red sun primordial fire in the secret realm has reached the 6th level. It won't take long for the fire spirit to reach the next level. Next time we come, we'll have 3 semi-god realm warriors with us. We'll be able to stir up trouble in the Sea of 7 Stars. Xiaofan couldn't believe it. I can reach the perfect level? Of course. We have the Yin-Yang mutual art. It can help you improve your body. The secret skill can generate a lot of divine sense. It's not a problem for you to reach the perfect level. In order to reach the perfect level as soon as possible, we have to hurry up and cultivate. Then, he carried Xiaofan into the bedroom. In fact, the blood lotus seed could also improve the body. Since the Yin-Yang mutual art had the same effect, why waste such a precious treasure? Therefore, Wang Daoyuan didn't mention the blood lotus seed to Xiaofan. On the way back, the flying boat took the same route. It flew west along the edge of the ice field. The 2 clones still needed to improve the sea conditions along the way in preparation for building a transit station in the future. It took them more time on the way back. It took them 3 years to reach the Mirage Mist Sea. Wang Daoyuan didn't plan to go back like this. Since they were going to deal with the beasts, it wasn't good to show up. After reaching the semi-god realm, Wang Daoyuan's ability to sense his clones had improved greatly. He sensed his clones at the mouth of the Purple Gold River. The ice tortoise was guarding the mouth of the Thousand River in Linhai State. The gray rock was patrolling the west side of the Sky Mountain. Jia Qi was secretly protecting Wang Mingren and Wang Mingxian in the desert north of the mountain. Ever since the 2 of them had established their Violet Palace, they had been traveling outside. The cultivation speed of a heavenly spirit root was still extremely terrifying. In just a little over 10 years, he had already reached the middle stage of the Violet Palace realm. If this continued, forming his gold core before he was 100 years old was a sure thing. According to the memories of the doppelganger, nothing major had happened in Beiyuan Xiaoxian during the 10 years they had been away. The Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce was still methodically annexing the various branches of Blood Shadow. Now, the Blood Shadow branches in Zheng and Zhou had become the Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce's territory. The Wei nation was unexpectedly unyielding and was still holding on until now. There were no rumors about the 2 of them leaving. After all, it was common for Yuanying cultivators to go into seclusion for decades. It had only been 10 years since he had appeared, so no one would suspect anything. Wang Daoyuan controlled the panoramic perception avatar, Grey Peng, to let him fly to Clear Glass City to report. The gray rock arrived above Clear Glass City and transformed into a gray-robed cultivator. However, his face was rather ferocious. His aquiline nose covered his mouth and his eyes flashed with a cold light. He went straight to the imperial study. The Wang family was familiar with him and did not stop him. Seeing him enter, Wang Mingchen asked, "Uncle Grey Peng, did you find anything?" Grey Peng scanned the surroundings. Wang Mingchen immediately understood and let the others leave. Only Wang Mingchen and Wang Daochang were left in the imperial study. From the doppelganger's memories, he knew that the 12th uncle had already broken through to the Yuanying realm. Not long ago, he went to the Archaic Mysteries sect to borrow the Heavenly Mystery Pagoda to deduce the overturned sea art. Although the Wang family's overturned sea art was not weak among the golden core cultivation techniques, there was no follow-up content. The 12th uncle mainly cultivated the overturned sea art. It was not suitable for him to change cultivation techniques after reaching the Yuanying realm. Gray Peng said, "Mingchen, third brother, I'm back. I'm now at Zijin River." Wang Mingchen was stunned. "Father, since you're back, why didn't you come directly? I've already broken through to the Soul Formation realm. I've also found a place to settle down at the Qixing Sea Shuxian community." Hearing this, the two of them were very happy. Wang Daochang quickly asked, "So, our Wang family can leave Qixing Sea and go to the Sea of Seven Stars to establish a family branch?" "Of course. The place I've found is called the Earth Flame Archipelago. There are 6 islands with a radius of more than 1,000 miles. Each island has a level 6 spirit vein and a volcano. Even the worst island can accommodate millions of people. There are also more than 20 small islands with a radius of a few hundred miles. They also have level 5 spirit veins. Although they are not suitable for ordinary family members, they can still be accommodated for cultivators. The next time we go to the Sea of Seven Stars, we can bring some family members there and establish the Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce there." Wang Mingchen was also very excited. In this way, the Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce will be able to occupy a place in the Sea of Seven Stars in a few years. It's a pity that the two cultivation worlds are too far apart. It's not easy to communicate. Otherwise, we can connect the two cultivation worlds. The trade between the two immortal cultivation worlds is extremely profitable. Don't worry. When I went back and forth to the Qixing Sea Shuxian community, I asked my clone to record the situation of the islands along the way. As long as the time is right, we can set up transit stations and communication arrays on these islands. With my current cultivation, I have no opponents in Qixing Sea. It's time to deal with the demon race. This time, I came back to deal with the demon race in Qixing Sea. I won't show up now to lure the demon race to attack our Yen kingdom. As long as a level 5 demon race attacks, I'll use the excuse that the demon race violated the agreement and kill all demons above level 5. From then on, there will be no demon race in Qixing Sea that can threaten the survival of the human race. Only by eliminating all the demon race can we ensure the safety of the border area of the Arctic ice field, and the transit station can be safe. Wang Mingchen asked, "Father, what should we do then?" "Find someone from the Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce and spread the news in the Wanchuan market. Say that your mother and I have left Qixing Sea. Travel to other places and look for an opportunity to break through to the semi-god realm. After the news is spread, send someone to Shanbei and Linhai. These two places are close to the demon race's territory. As long as the news is spread widely enough, the demon race will definitely get the news. There will always be guys who can't stand being lonely. When the time comes, you will make some moves to shrink the defense industry to give the demon race some courage. If the demon race gains an advantage, they will definitely do worse. As long as a level 5 demon dares to attack, we will have an excuse to wipe out the demon race." Wang Mingchen nodded. "I will arrange for my trusted subordinates hidden in the Chamber of Commerce to spread the news. Don't be too anxious. Release the news slowly and lure the demon race to attack. Third brother, you have been in charge of the family for many years. Check for Mingchen." Wang Daochang smiled and said, "Seventh brother, don't worry. This is my duty. You can make the arrangements. I will stay in Zijinchuan for a while." Then, he controlled his avatar, the Grey Rock, to leave Qingli City and continue to patrol the territory of the Yen Kingdom. Wang Mingchen took out a communication jade token from his interspatial ring. After sending a message, he put it away. In the Wanchuan market, a cultivator who looked like a manager at the dock took out a jade token, looked at it, and put it away. Then, he returned to a small house beside the dock and called over a burly man dressed as an itinerant cultivator. After saying a few words, the burly man left the house. The Wanchuan market was located at the center of the east-west traffic. The dock was very lively. There were many cultivators who made a living along the Wanchuan River. Usually, they would form evil sects at the dock. Therefore, there were many tea houses and restaurants here. This itinerant cultivator strolled in front of a few tea houses. When he saw an acquaintance, he went up to him. This acquaintance of his was wearing a brocade robe. It seemed that he was rich. The burly man went up to him. "Shopkeeper Zhang, where have you been making a fortune recently?" After saying that, he sat down at the table, poured himself a cup of tea, and drank it in one gulp. The man in the brocade robe chuckled. "Gu Daoyu, we meet again. You've always been well informed. This time, you're freeloading my tea. Do you have any news?" The burly man patted his chest and said, "When have I ever freeloaded? I have a life and death friend who has a position in the Chamber of Commerce. He manages a flying ship. This flying ship usually travels between the Wanchuan market and Linhai Prefecture to transport all kinds of goods. According to him, about 4 or 5 years ago, when he was passing through the Wanchuan River Valley, he encountered a 4th-rank demonic beast. Suddenly, a sword light fell from the sky and killed the demonic beast. Then, a strange ship that was flying extremely fast headed east. That brother of mine is also someone who has seen the world. He has seen flying warships and battles between Golden Core cultivators. However, the power of that sword light was not something that a Golden Core cultivator could compare to. There was also that strange ship. Even the gray rock raised by the retired emperor couldn't compare to it. Later, he guessed that the retired emperor might have gone out to sea again to find an opportunity to break through. After all, the retired emperor broke through to the Yuanying realm by going out to sea to find treasures. Now, he has already cultivated to the peak of the Yuanying realm. It is very likely that he went out to find an opportunity to break through to the Soul Formation realm. Head shopkeeper Zhang, this news is worth a pot of tea, right? The brocade-robed man waved his hand and said, "After talking for so long, it is all speculation. There is no actual evidence at all. You should be content with a small cup of tea." After saying that, he picked up the teapot and poured a cup of tea for him. The burly man picked up the teacup and drank it in one gulp. "Thank you, head shopkeeper Zhang. However, you must not spread this news. After all, it involves the higher-ups. If something happens, our small bodies won't be able to handle it." The brocade-robed man was a bit impatient. "Go away. Don't you know me? I have always been tight-lipped." A day later, the news that Wang Daoyuan left Beiyuan Xiuxian and went overseas to find an opportunity to break through to the Soul Formation realm spread throughout the entire Wanchuan market. Of course, not many people believed this news. After all, Yuanying cultivators were elusive. Rumors spread by low-level cultivators were not very credible. At most, they would be used as idle gossip. At this time, Wang Mingchen gave a final blow. He ordered the guardian of Wanchuan market to strictly prohibit such rumors from spreading. Those who violated the rules would be severely punished. After the order was issued, no one dared to speak in Wanchuan market. However, people could move around. Especially in the main markets of the Yen Kingdom, there were flying boats going to and fro. They could transport goods and people. A few days later, similar rumors began to spread in some of the larger markets in the north of the mountain and in Linhai Prefecture. The Yen Kingdom's imperial court ordered the guardian of each market to strictly prohibit cultivators from spreading the news. This time, the rumors were not only spread in the markets. Cultivators who went out to hunt monsters and collect spiritual herbs also spread the rumors. Gradually, the news reached the ears of the demonic beasts. In an ice palace deep in the Arctic ice plains, a few 5th-level monsters gathered together. One of them, a man with 2 dragon horns on his head, asked, "Have you heard that Wang Daoyuan left Beiyuan Xiuxian to find an opportunity to break through?" A very strong man answered, "I heard it from the juniors below, but we can't prove it." Another man with 2 beast ears smiled and said, "Without Wang Daoyuan, no one in the human race can threaten us. The last time he left, it took him decades to return. Do you want to take the opportunity to attack the Yan Kingdom and cripple the entire human race, so that Beiyuan Xiuxian will become our territory again?" Chapter 1024. The man with dragon horns shook his head. "With our strength, we can deal with the human forces on the surface. We've been asking about Wang Daoyuan all these years. This person always likes to leave some cards up his sleeves. Even if he really leaves, he should have left a lot of backup plans in the Yan Kingdom. If we attack rashly, the casualties will definitely not be small. If he doesn't leave, the 3 of us together are no match for him." The man with beast ears asked, "So we're just going to wait? What else can we do? Why don't the Snow Bear clan take action? The blood of the Dragon clan can't be shed for nothing." The burly man also said, "The Black Tortoise clan's bloodline is rare. We can't afford to be tortured. Even if Wang Daoyuan leaves, I won't do anything." The man with dragon horns smiled and said, "That's right. What happens to the human race has nothing to do with us. No one knows how vast the icy plains are to the north and east. No matter how powerful the human race is, they can't threaten our survival. Especially the Snow Bear clan, which lives in the depths of the icy plains. If we're not worried, what are you worried about? But it's hard to say about the Heavenly/Mountain Range. That place is suitable for humans to live. Once Wang Daoyuan broke through to the Soul Formation realm, would he still leave a way out for them? The demons of the Heavenly/Mountain Range are anxious about this matter. We'll just watch the show. If the demons of the Heavenly/Mountain Range gain an advantage, we'll take advantage of the situation and seize some territory. If the demons of the Heavenly/Mountain Range are crippled, we won't stand out." The 3 demon kings quickly reached an agreement. They would not get involved in this matter first and wait for the demons of the Heavenly/Mountain Range. Not only were the demons of the icy plains cowering, but the demons of the Heavenly/Mountain Range were also very cowardly. After rumors spread everywhere for more than a month, the demons did not make any moves. The Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce's businesses were distributed too widely. Many of them were adjacent to places with more demons. It was a common occurrence for small groups of demons or individual rank 4 demons to attack industries. However, in the past month, the attacks had completely disappeared. It was unknown if the demons did not dare to attack rashly because they did not know the situation, or if they wanted to shrink their forces and attack with all their might. Wang Mingchen didn't make any big moves. He just quietly called back the Wang family disciples who were training in the remote areas. Now that there were more and more cultivators in the Wang clan, if a cultivator without a direct golden core elder wanted to stand out, he or she had to be extremely talented. Regardless of whether it was cultivation talent or talent in the various arts of cultivation, as long as one was strong enough, one would be able to receive the full support of the clan. However, the Wang clan now had very high requirements for cultivation talent. One had to have at least 3 spiritual roots and a primary spiritual root that was more than 7 inches in order to receive additional training. Those with 3 spiritual roots below 7 inches were not much different from cultivators with less talent. They had to rely on their own efforts to obtain sufficient resources. After all, cultivators with good talent were in the minority. Most of the clansmen with poor talent could only rely on hard work. Therefore, a large number of Wang clan members with average cultivation talent flocked to the Myriad Rivers Chamber of Commerce. He wanted to make some achievements, get a good job in the Chamber of Commerce, and get enough cultivation resources. Moreover, the Wang clan didn't just focus on cultivation talent and the 100 arts of cultivation. He also had the ability to do business and deal with affairs. Although not everyone could have these abilities, as long as they weren't too stupid and had enough experience, their abilities wouldn't be too bad. As long as they could train in this aspect, there was still a possibility of entering the upper echelons of the clan. In order to train and display their abilities, it was best to work in the various remote industries. Over the years, there were Wang clan disciples in various remote industries. To a large force, such a disciple's value was extremely high. Wang Daoyuan and Wang Mingqian's intention was to sacrifice some industries to lure the demons to make a move. It didn't matter if the industries were destroyed, they could be rebuilt in a few years. If the itinerant cultivators recruited by the Chamber of Commerce died, they could just give them more compensation. Later on, they could recruit more. Every time an outstanding disciple died, it would be a huge loss to the clan. Because there were too many family disciples working in the various industries, it was naturally impossible for such a large number of people to be mobilized without any news. After 2 to 3 months, the various industries of the Chamber of Commerce spread the news that the Wang clan had withdrawn their defenses. Once this news was out, more and more people believed that Wang Daoyuan had really left. Soon, the Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce's mine in the east of the Qi Kingdom was besieged by more than 10 level 3 demons. Although there was only one Zifu realm cultivator overseeing this mine, it had a relatively powerful defensive array formation. The demons couldn't take down the mine in a short time, and the Qi Kingdom also followed the agreement with the Yan Kingdom and sent people to chase the demons away. This test was a fuse. Since then, the Wang clan's industries in the sky/mountain range had been besieged by the demons many times. However, when the Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce had just established these industries, they had already made sufficient preparations. Every industry was protected by a sufficiently powerful defensive array formation, and the demons wouldn't be able to break through in a short time. The nearby countries also had an agreement with the Yan Kingdom, so they didn't dare to not help. After all, Wang Daoyuan had gone out to look for an opportunity to break through. Back then, he had broken through and returned after going out at the peak of the Golden Core realm. Now that Yuanying had gone out at the peak of the Golden Core realm, the chances of him returning alive were higher. If they dared to break the agreement with the Yan Kingdom, Wang Daoyuan would definitely take care of them and the demons when he returned. With the help of these countries, the industries that had been attacked by the demons didn't suffer much damage. At most, they would temporarily stop production, move the low-level cultivators to a safe place, and leave a few powerful cultivators to guard the territory. The Yan Kingdom didn't make any big moves. They just expressed their gratitude to the countries that had helped. Then, they sent the Grey Rock to patrol and intimidate the demons. However, the demons weren't intimidated, and they started to become more aggressive. They were no longer satisfied with harassing the industries far away from the Yan Kingdom. Instead, they targeted Linhai State and Serene South County. For the Wang clan, this situation was better. In Linhai State and Serene South County, the Wang clan focused on many industries. Even if the demons sent out 5th-level demons, it would be difficult for them to play any tricks. Most importantly, these places weren't far from Qingli City, and there were 5th-level puppets hidden in some places. The demons' probing attacks on Serene South County and Linhai State didn't work. The Wang clan continued to pretend to be weak, but they did their best to protect their industries. In the palace deep in the Arctic icy plains, the 3 demon monarchs gathered again. Snow Bear asked, "We listened to Ice Flood Dragon and didn't attack the Yan Kingdom directly. Now, the demons at the Heaven/Mountain Range have probed many times, but the Yan Kingdom still hasn't made much of a move. It seems that Wang Daoyuan has indeed left Beiyuan Xiaoxian. What should we do next? Should we attack the Yan Kingdom directly or continue to bide our time?" The burly man smiled and said, since the demons of the heaven/mountain range are anxious, there's no need for us to be anxious. So far, the demons of the heaven/mountain range have only sent 3rd level and 4th level demons. It only made some of the industries of the Myriad Rivers Chamber of Commerce unable to operate normally, but it didn't cause any substantial damage. The Yen Kingdom hasn't sent out any Yuanying forces either. It's still far from a war. We definitely won't attack until the 5th level combatants on both sides are dead. Ice Flood Dragon nodded. Great Demon Monarch Mystic Ice is right. We're not in a hurry. Let's wait and see the commotion between the demons of the heaven/mountain range and the Yen Kingdom. We'll attack when the outcome is decided. However, we still need to make some preparations. No matter what the outcome of the war is, we can't be at a disadvantage. If the Yen Kingdom is weak, we'll cooperate with the demons of the heaven/mountain range to attack the Yen Kingdom. If the Yen Kingdom has the upper hand, we'll take the opportunity to occupy the east of the heaven/mountain range. As long as we don't attack first, we won't be at a disadvantage no matter what the outcome is. The 3 great demon monarchs of the Arctic icefield reached a consensus. The demons of the entire icefield began to make preparations. Wang Daoyuan and Zhou Luan settled down in the Zijinchuan branch. Zhou Luan stayed in the Soul Pearl space and flipped through various books in the Valley of Beasts. Wang Daoyuan used his avatar to observe the movements of the demons in various places. At this moment, Wang Mingren and Wang Mingxian were traveling in the northern part of Serene South County. Ever since the demons started to cause trouble, Wang Mingxian had sent them a message and asked them to return as soon as possible. However, the two of them were a little wild from traveling outside. In addition, they had some means of self-protection, so they traveled east slowly. It had been a few months, but they had just arrived in the northern part of Serene South County. Serene South County was located in the heaven/mountain range. The southernmost part was Mount Huiyan, the easternmost part was the main mountain range, and the northernmost part was the boundary between humans and demons of the Arctic icefield. This place was where the Yen Kingdom and the 2 demon clans met. The Yen Kingdom's development center had always been in the southern part of Serene South County. It could be said that this place was a barren land with demon beasts often appearing. Wang Mingxian and Wang Mingren were resting in a forest. Wang Mingxian complained, "Big brother is too much. Father and mother went out to sea to find an opportunity to break through. What does that have to do with us? Why did he have to rush us back? We've traveled to many places in the northern part of the mountain range in the past few years, but we didn't see any demons. We wanted to find some suitable spiritual plants for fighting, but we didn't find anything. We've been out for more than 10 years and have a lot of doubts about cultivation. We should go back and ask Ancestor Myriad Spirits. What's more, the 2 of us are completely relying on luck to find spirit herbs. It's better to ask the Wanshuan Chamber of Commerce for help. The Chamber of Commerce's influence is spread over half of Beiyuan. Don't be angry. Let's go back with the flying boat. If you want to come out again, we can bring a nest of treasure hunting bees next time." A burst of laughter came. "Your Highness, your brother is right. If you had gone back with the flying boat earlier, we wouldn't have been able to catch you. Little ones, grab them both. Remember, don't hurt them. They're the son and daughter of the most powerful man in Beiyuan, the younger brother and sister of the Yen Emperor. You really look like the Emperor Emeritus and Empress Dowager of the Yen Kingdom." Before he could finish his sentence, the roars of beasts rang out one after another, and the sounds of beasts running could be heard from all directions. A silver long sword appeared in Wang Mingren's hand. The body of the sword was decorated with a white tiger. Wang Mingxian had a gourd hanging on her waist. She stroked the gourd and a dozen vines appeared out of nowhere. She waved her hand and a green light sprinkled down. The vines began to grow crazily. Soul-breaking vine, protect the surroundings. Before she finished speaking, more than a dozen vines began to grow in a circle. The soul-breaking vine entangled the trees in a radius of more than 200 feet. The vines formed a fence with a radius of 200 feet. There were also many vines on the treetops, ready to attack at any time. A group of rank 3 wolf demons rushed over. The leading rank 3 upper-grade wolf demon jumped high and spat out a full moon. Wang Mingren waved the long sword in her hand. A silver light flashed and the full moon was cut in half. The silver light didn't stop and cut the wolf demon. The wolf demon opened its mouth and bit the silver light. Of course, it paid a big price. 2 of its fangs were cut off by the silver light. It opened its mouth and was about to howl when it stopped abruptly. A black vine pierced its abdomen and a blood-stained vine stabbed out from its back. The wolf demon didn't even have time to struggle before it collapsed. Chapter 1025. More than 23rd-rank wolf demons quickly surrounded them. These wolves all looked similar and were completely black, somewhat similar to the black cloud wolf. When the wolf pack saw that the 2 of them had dealt with a 3rd-rank high-grade wolf demon so easily, they didn't dare to move forward. The voice from before sounded again, "You don't even dare to fight against 2 with more than 20 of you. What's the use of having you? All of you, attack together. I don't believe they can block all of us." Under his command, more than 20 wolf demons simultaneously jumped up from all directions, wanting to jump over the fence made of vines. Wang Mingren's face was full of disdain. "Half each. The east side is mine and the west side is yours." Before he finished speaking, 12 dazzling silver lights soared into the sky. After rising to a height of more than 300 meters, the silver lights converged and turned into 12 illusory longswords. Each longsword slashed at a wolf demon's neck. Wang Mingxian's side was even more relaxed. Dozens of vines stretched out and attacked the wolf demons. This time, the demon who could talk became anxious. He didn't expect that 2 middle-stage Zifu realm cultivators would have the means to kill more than 20 wolves at the same time. A large full moon fell from the sky, wanting to smash the 2 to death. As long as the person who cast the spell died, the spell would be broken. At this moment, a large, pitch-black dog appeared out of thin air, opened its mouth, and swallowed the full moon. Then its figure changed and turned into a muscular man wearing a black leather robe. This muscular man was Big Black. At this moment, less than 10 of the 20 wolf demons dodged the attack in the air and fled far away. The other wolves were all killed. Big Black landed on the ground and looked at the sky. It chuckled. Daoyu bullying others with numbers is one thing, but a 4th-rank middle-grade demon actually dares to bully Zifu realm juniors. You're really shameless. At this moment, a black wolf that was more than 5 meters long descended from the sky. He shouted angrily at Big Black, "You're also a demon and a dog-type demon beast. You can be considered a close relative of my wolf clan. Why are you helping humans to kill fellow demons?" Big Black's face was full of disdain. "When I was young, I was just an ordinary puppy. I barely survived because my old master adopted me. If it wasn't for the second young master, I would have become a 1st-rank spirit beast at most and died of old age. But second young master gave me a large amount of cultivation resources, allowing me to cultivate to this day. The demon clan did not do me any favors. Master's family allowed me to grow from a dying puppy to where I am today. Who do you think I should help? Let's cut the crap. After dealing with you, I still have to escort the 2 children home." After saying that, it opened its mouth and tried to swallow the black wolf directly into its stomach. This black wolf was not weak. If Dahe played hard, it would not be able to swallow him. The black wolf spat out 2 large full moons in a row, but this spell was nothing in front of Dahe. It was directly swallowed into his stomach without even leaving a sound. When He Lang saw that his ultimate skill was completely restrained, he didn't dare to continue fighting. His body was wrapped in a layer of silver light, and he was about to escape. Dahe spat out 3 full moons in a row, which was the devouring spell. He Lang blocked with all his might, but he was only able to block 2 of them. The third one hit his head. He Lang was also thick-skinned. His head was seriously injured, but he just fainted. Wang Mingren was about to kill him with his sword, but Dahe said, "Don't worry, Mingren. This black wolf is not ordinary. It seems that he has the bloodline of a high-level demonic beast. Take him back. He may be of great use." Wang Mingren nodded, took out a demon-subduing gourd, and put He Lang into it. Dahe looked at the gourd and said with a smile, "If I had known you had this thing, I wouldn't have had to do it. Mingxian, don't be so stubborn. Mingchen wants you to go back as soon as possible for your own good. I received a message before that this period of time is not peaceful. The news that your father and mother went to sea was leaked. In recent months, the industries of the Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce have been attacked hundreds of times. The demon clan sent a group of demonic beasts to deal with you too. They must have targeted you. If they send another 5th-level demonic beast, no matter how many means we have, we can't escape death." Then, he took out a flying boat. Wang Mingxian did not delay any longer. The 3 of them took the flying boat and headed southwest. This flying boat was a 3rd-level flying boat. It could fly 5,000 to 6,000 miles in 2 hours. A day later, the flying boat arrived near Serene South City. At this time, the formation of Serene South City had been opened. There were no traces of cultivators outside the city. Instead, there were many 3rd-level demonic beasts. Dahe did not dare to stay nearby and continued to drive the flying boat to the Jade Spring Peak in the southeast direction. At this time, a sharp voice came from the sky. "After waiting near Serene South City for more than half a month, I finally didn't waste my time. I really met a big fish. Looking at the appearance of these 2 little guys, they should be Wang Daoyuan's children. As long as I catch the 2 of you, Wang Mingchen will have to hold back." Then, a claw shadow that blotted out the sky fell from the sky. At this time, Wang Mingren and Wang Mingxian were suppressed by the powerful momentum and could not move. Dahe wanted to cast a spell to resist the claw shadow, but it was suppressed by the force and could not use its spiritual power. The claw shadow fell, but it did not smash the flying boat. Instead, it dragged it up. At this time, a water blue light flashed, and the claw shadow was scattered. There was a sharp wail in the sky, and the previous momentum disappeared in an instant. Then, a huge white-feathered chicken with a wingspan of more than 100 feet appeared and shouted angrily, "Who dares to sneak attack me?" This white-feathered chicken had dealt with Wang Daoyuan before. When the red-feathered crow broke through the 5th-level tribulation, this guy came to make trouble. In the end, it was injured by Wang Daoyuan and escaped into the 9 heavens astral wind layer. It was only because its grandfather saved it that it escaped. Later, its grandfather fought with Wang Daoyuan in the north of the mountain and was killed directly. This white-feathered chicken never showed up again. A cultivator in a white robe appeared out of thin air, holding a black jade cauldron in his hand, and took the flying boat that Dahe was on into the cauldron. A chicken can cultivate to the peak of the 5th level, how strange. This was Jia Qi. Wang Daoyuan had asked him to secretly protect Wang Mingren and Wang Mingxian. When they encountered danger before, Dahe could completely deal with it. Now that the Grand Demon King had attacked, he had to help. Bulsh *T, your ancestor has the Phoenix bloodline. A Grand Demon King sneakily attacked 2 Purple Mansion Realm children and a 4th-level mid-grade spirit beast. You've embarrassed the Phoenix clan. You evil creatures attacked the Yen Kingdom's property wantonly, This is breaking the agreement between the two races. Aren't you afraid that the Grand Emperor of the Yen Kingdom will punish you? The Grand Demon King of the Heavenly/Mountain Range had already attacked Wang Mingren and Wang Mingxian. It was reasonable that Wang Daoyuan appeared now and killed all the demons in the Heavenly/Mountain Range. However, the demons of the Arctic Ice Plains hadn't attacked yet. If they only wiped out the demons of the Heavenly/Mountain Range, the demons of the Arctic Ice Plains would lose their opponents and become a big threat to the human race. It was better to wait for the demons of the Arctic Ice Plains to attack and then stew them in a pot. The white feather chicken laughed like a rooster. If Wang Daoyuan was still in Beiyuan Xiuxian, he would have already taken action when we attacked the Yen Kingdom's property. Now he hasn't done anything. It seems that the rumor is true. He went to sea to find an opportunity to break through to the Soul Formation realm. The last time he left, it took him dozens of years. He's only been gone for a few years now. By the time he returns, we'll have already flattened the Northern Abyss Immortal realm. Jia Qi said disdainfully, I can easily deal with you, white feather chicken. There's no need for the Grand Emperor to do it himself. Don't leave if you have the guts. I'll go back and send the two children back to Qingli City first. When I come back, I'll fight with you. The white feather chicken was furious. You don't take me seriously. If it weren't for the two children, I would have used you to make chicken soup today. The white feather chicken flapped its wings and 2 gusts of wind came. Jia Qi turned into a beam of golden light and dodged the attack. He also threw out 2 Gui Water Divine Thunder. The white feather chicken didn't dare to be careless. A gust of wind surged around its body and condensed into 2 shields to block the Gui Water Divine Thunder. Unexpectedly, the Gui Water Divine Thunder penetrated the shields and hit its wings. The white feather chicken reacted fast enough and dodged in time. The Gui Water Divine Thunder only destroyed a few long feathers and left some wounds on its wings. Although it wasn't seriously injured, the white feather chicken was still frightened. The demons had few tricks. They had never seen a trick that could penetrate defensive spells. Wang Daoyuan, who was using Jia Qi's panoramic perception clone, also shook his head secretly. The 5th-rank beasts in Beiyuan were much weaker than those of the same rank in Qixingxi Xiuxian community. After all, there were too many 5th-rank beasts. It was inevitable that they would fight with each other. Many Yuanian cultivators made a living by hunting 5th-rank beasts. Gradually, the 5th-rank beasts' strength increased. On the other hand, 5th-rank beasts were rare in Beiyuan. Each of them could be called an ancestor. There were very few opportunities to fight. Naturally, their strength was not enough. Jia Qi laughed. With your little ability, you can't keep me here. Get out of here. The white feather chicken's strength was in its speed. When it was a 5th-rank upper-rank beast, the red-winged crow that had just finished its tribulation could entangle it for a long time. Jia Qi had learned most of Wang Daoyuan's spells. His techniques were the same as Wang Daoyuan's. Bullying a 5th-rank peak-level white feather chicken didn't take much effort. The white feather chicken didn't dare to pester him anymore. You can leave, but you can't leave serene South City. I'd like to see how long the city's formation can resist me. Jia Qi didn't care about it. He took the flying boat and flew southwest. The white feather chicken was furious. It flew above serene South City. Just as it was about to attack the city's defensive formation, a silver light flew out from the city. The white feather chicken used its escaping ability and hurriedly dodged. However, it was still cut by the silver light. Its tail feathers were all cut off. Even the tip of its tail lost a piece of meat. The white feather chicken screamed in pain. It didn't dare to stay here any longer. It fled into the 9 heavens astral wind layer. This was the sword puppet left behind by Wang Daoyuan. After Wang Mingchen merged it with his sub-soul, he arranged for it to stay in serene South City. This sword puppet was a 5th-rank upper-rank sword puppet, Xianji. Its strength wasn't inferior to Jia Qi's. If it wasn't for the fact that it was afraid of being ganged up on by 5th-rank beasts, it could have left the white feather chicken behind. Xianji returned to serene South City. The surroundings were peaceful again. Jia Qi brought the 2 children and Blackie all the way to the southwest. When they passed by Yuchuan Peak, they found that its spirit vein had been upgraded to 5th rank. This was expected. A few decades ago, Yuchuan Peak's spirit vein had already been upgraded to the peak of 4th rank. It was just that it was too difficult to cross the threshold of 5th rank, which was why it had been delayed until now. Although the formation was still 4th rank, with Lei Yanzhenren holding the fort, there was no need to worry about the Grand Demon King. The flying boat landed in the palace of Qingli City. Jia Qi released Wang Mingren, Wang Mingxian, and Blackie from the Black Jade Cauldron. He brought them to the imperial study. Wang Mingchen was relieved to see his brother and sister back. Mingren, Mingxian, you guys are finally back. Serene South City sent a message saying that a Grand Demon King ambushed you guys. Thank you Uncle Jia for saving you. The demon race couldn't break through our Yen Kingdom's important industries and was looking for a breakthrough. The 2 of you are the best breakthrough. You guys can cultivate in the secret room behind the imperial study. Don't go out before the demon race is dealt with. After all, an elder brother was like a father. The 2 of them were still a little afraid of Wang Mingchen. In addition, the difference in strength was too great. They could only cultivate in the imperial study. You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.